Ludwig leaves for YouTube. And you know what? What are some of the other big mistakes that Twitch made this year? Alongside that, what were some of our goals that we wanted to achieve and maybe didn't achieve? And coming up is 2022. So welcome to the Suggested Podcast, the show about content creation for content creators by content creators. And we are the Digital Buskers. My name is Reapz.
Hi, I'm Eljayem. Hi. Yeah, that's right, Nick. You're too slow. I got in.
You beat me. I was like, go so close. And I'm Nicktacular. Hello.
Welcome, everyone. So just to fill you in, as it is the first episode, we decided to make a podcast because, you know, that's what all white middle-class men are doing these days. And we wanted to jump on that bandwagon and make it solely, and, you know, maybe not so much solely, but about content creation in general as the main theme. So today, we're going to start off with the big news of the hour, and that was Ludwig actually taking his ball and heading on over to YouTube, where you could say that he made his Twitch career. Would you agree 100%. Or disagree?
It's entirely built off that. Every single stream he does is literally like an hour segment that's designed purely for his YouTube channel. Its entire process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was when I saw, I think I found out about it on live stream fails. Like it said, Ludwig leaves for YouTube. And I was like, is this one of those debate things? Clicked on it. I thought the way that he announced it was quite good because it did the whole, you know, here's some irreverent chatting, you know, with you know, slime and stuff. They're in a purple car. And I was like, oh, this is a debate. It's going to be, I'm signing up with Twitch for another 2 years to battle, you know, Tim and whatever, moving over to YouTube. And then exploding the car and then getting over into a red car, I was like, that's quite the statement.
You know, that is so good. I was giggling the whole way through. I'm like, this is the kind of that I'd pull. Like, I'd want to do something funny if I was making such a big announcement, and it was great.
You know, one of the best parts about the entire video is right at the end, as he gets into the red car, he starts playing music, right? He starts playing some songs, and he says, "Oh, you can't do that, right?" And he goes, not in this car. But,
not in this car.
Funny fact, if you guys weren't aware, about an hour and a half ago, he was banned for playing copyrighted music on his stream on YouTube.
Oh, okay. So first of all, I'm shocked. Because I was legitimately watching his stream 2 to 3 hours ago before I had to run some errands. And what he was doing for his video that day was, here's the top 50 YouTube videos. And I think I left on him watching the evolution of dance. And that had 50 billion tracks. So I'm not sure if it's that one, but please tell me more, LJ, if you know anything more. This shocks me.
Let's do a game. Okay. Don't do any Googling. Don't do any cheating, all right? What out of the top 50 most viewed YouTube videos do you think had the hardest iron fist to come down and strike him midstream and ban him?
Well, it's got to be some sort of like music corporation, like UMG or DMC, something like that.
Well, God, what was the music channel that was battling PewDiePie for #1 YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, what was the name of that?
Coco Melon? You think it was Coco Melon?
No, not that.
Oh, do you mean T-Series?
Indian one.
T-Series, that's the right. Yeah, T-Series.
I will have you know it was Baby Shark. He started playing Baby Shark and got about 30 seconds in, and they banned him live.
No.
What?
Yep. Not in this car. Not in this car.
That is the name of the podcast this week. Not in this car. That is mental.
The thing is, all right.
Why would they do that?
The thing is, right, it's such a good move for him. Like at the end of the day, like no one can deny the fact that the YouTube move is perfect for him, right? Like to quickly name the 3 major reasons in short as to why he's moving on. It's obviously money, get that out of the way. Secondary would be the fact that he has a huge platform over there. And third, he doesn't want to do streaming. He's always said he wants a 5-year plan. He wants to move on. He wants to push on. And I think that means pursuing larger projects. So to have more money from YouTube, because they offered like 4 times the amount is what people are saying. To have less time streaming, like contractually, he doesn't have to stream as much as he did on YouTube. To earn more means that he can make larger projects. And also, YouTube is willing to back them, right? YouTube is all about event processing. They are, or event holding, I guess you'd say, because that's what they do. And those are the 3 major reasons he's moved on. And it just makes so much sense. But not in this car.
Not in this car. That is it. Does that take the world record for this video aged well?
It wasn't even 3 days.
Well, not even 3 days. That's crazy. But no, you bring up a good point, and I'm actually really like watching his video was the first I personally had heard about his Smash tournament that he wants to do, his $1 million Smash tournament, which sounds incredibly insane, but really, really cool. So I totally get it. Like, I think as creators, like as the longer you do this, the more you want to push your own boundaries and just the boundaries in general. So I'm really keen to see what he has planned for some crazy stuff that he wants to do.
Definitely. I mean, he talks about his 5-year plan. You know, I wanted to stream for 5 years. And then he said, I believe on the first YouTube video out there, he's actually going to be doing it for 6 because, you know, contractually obliged to do 2 years under this new contract, which is, you know, completely understandable. But yeah, he did say that when he did talks with both Twitch and YouTube, he said to YouTube, you know, he flipped a coin over which he was going to go with, and it came up with Twitch. And so he went over to the YouTube guys and said, sorry, you know, not going to be able to do it. I've decided to go back to Twitch. And they said, oh, okay, but what if we give you less time for streaming and more money? And he's like, like any respectable human being would be
yes.
like, So then he went back to Twitch and was like, yo, I think I'm going to go with YouTube because I've got offered this amount. And according to him, you know, obviously this is hearsay and there's 3 truths, your truth, the other person's truth, and the actual truth. They said, all right, well, thank you for your time. We'll see you later. So there wasn't even like a fight for him, which I think, you know, as being such one of the faces of Twitch would never feel nice. Like, I know that I would not feel respected if they didn't even try and make an effort and just immediately just went, all right, we'll see you later.
How would you love something, you let them go, you know? It's part, right? That's what it is. Twitch is just
like
really
Rose,
loves them.
Titanic.
Even if they can't alter the contract, like even if the higher ups are like, no, we're not willing to pay more money, like just showing some empathy, being like, look, we understand that we can't match the deal, but we would like you to stay. Please consider it at the very least. Like just something, just say something to just be a bit more empathetic. The thing is as well, in Tim the Tapman's reaction to Ludwig's video, he paused the video at that moment and he just kind of sat there smiling at the camera going, similar story.
Wow.
Same thing with him where went to Twitch like, look, I'm moving to YouTube, and then we're just like, see you later, mate. That's it.
A lot of really large creators have echoed the exact same sentiment. But are you ready for LJ's hot take? LJ's first hot take of the entire podcast.
Is this a segment that we're going to have on the podcast?
Honestly, this is going to happen so much. I'm going to say it. Dude, YouTube aren't going to be nice to content creators the same way that Lud was saying they made it feel respected very quickly. I'm sorry, like Twitch has tens of thousands of giant creators who they can easily fall back on. Look at the Spanish speaking one getting millions, like Gref G and other people. Like Twitch want Ludwig. Of course they want Ludwig. They love Ludwig. They offered him a contract. They want it. They can't alter it because it's Amazon, it's higher ups. But at the end of the day, they've got so many other content creators who pull the same numbers and do other things as well. Obviously not in variety the way Ludwig could. Like, it's insane what he could pull off. But here's the thing. Yeah, YouTube is going to instantly give feedback to Valkyrie, and they're instantly going to help with Lud's stuff. And Fwiz, who's so on top of it, who's the head of YouTube Gaming, is going to one-to-one directly talk to these people, right? But go look at YouTube as an actual platform outside of YouTube Gaming, right? There are so many people on that platform, and there are huge content creators every day pinging YouTube teams and YouTube support. Hey, I have 100,000 subs. I get shitloads of views, and I've been banned for a false copyright claim. And they don't hear anything back, right? Like right now, they're able to throw money at the wall that is streamers to pull them over and say, we care about you, we love you, do you want some water? Are you feeling okay right now? Because they've only got like 12 people. People are saying all this stuff about YouTube and how amazing they're doing to treat their streamers. Let's be real though. When there's only 12 versus tens of thousands bringing in the same numbers, I don't think you can really compare it. They don't have the same stakes or the same risks associated with spending that money right now the way Twitch does, you know?
Yeah.
That's just my hot take.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're willing to spend that money because they know that they need to sort of carve some sort of segment out of the market. And like they want to it seems like they want to do a lot of event-based stuff. Like like Lud's tournament. They want that. They want the biggest Smash tournament on their platform, which makes so much sense.
You got to think about it also from the perspective of, Twitch and YouTube is like the big rivalry at the moment, like in terms of live streaming. That's the big thing. But let's just say, for instance, 5 years pass, and let's just say that YouTube wins the war. would that not fall under the direct kind of umbrella of a monopoly?
Exactly.
Because once they have that monopoly, and that's the only place that you can make the money for content creation, whether it's videos, whether it's live streaming, they can do as LJ said and just be like, yeah, but we've already got 50 billion content creators. So even if we lose a few, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to focus on the big ones that pull in the numbers, pull in, you know, viewership and everything like that. So you bring up a really good point there. Do we want a monopoly? And obviously, no, competition is always the best thing. So I hope that in 5 years' time, there may be even more competitors out there. But at the moment, you know, what's the other things apart from Twitch and YouTube in terms of live streaming?
You guys want to go to Trovo?
Yeah, Trovo, dude, it's the future.
Okay.
What was that other one? It started with an M. Can't remember it.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Honestly,
it doesn't matter. That's fine.
The night that Ludwig left, I did that live stream where I did like 2 hours of chatting about it, talking about the YouTube versus Twitch thing. And every single time someone came in and asked me, "Oh, which one do you want to win? Which one do you?" I was being really blunt with them because I needed people to really take this into their head. Like I just said, neither. You're an idiot if you're fanboying. Like, and I think Atriox said something similar as well. And I saw Devin. I didn't see Devin talk about this, but the idea that you want a single thing to win is essentially saying, I want to stall all progress. Because at the end of the day, this is the reason why YouTube is forcing itself to improve and spend this money is because Twitch has a monopoly on the niche that is live streaming right now, essentially. Right. And the sad problem is that there isn't much Twitch can do because Twitch isn't going to be able to build out a VOD platform. They're not going to be able to build out a clips platform. No. So they need to find a different way to improve, which means they need to make their live streaming platform literally the best live streaming platform. Nothing can be able to beat it. But essentially you want it to be that they have a 50-50 market split and they're constantly fighting each other. Because you know what? That's how we got Xbox and PlayStation to get to where they are. You know what I mean? Like Nintendo has such a bad track record of releasing just random shit that doesn't work or is terrible or is a bad emulator. And the problem, Nintendo doesn't have one-to-one competition. Yeah, people will buy it no matter what. So they can just do whatever they want.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. And when you consider that, like Amazon wanted Twitch's streaming technology. That's one of the major factors that led them to buy Twitch. But at the same time, and then now when they're in this stage where they want to be able to fund the platform and do all these things to try and compete, and then they just can't get that funding from Amazon because Daddy Amazon's like, no, you're not getting all that funding. And that's honestly the biggest shame. Like the fact that Amazon doesn't see as much value as in Twitch, even though they own the thing and they're still obviously giving some, obviously they're still like keeping the platform up, but they're just, I don't know, like somewhere at the top, something's happening where they're just like nothing's being heard, nothing's being realized of how serious this competition is, and that they need to fix a lot of their issues and improve the feature set on their platform to keep people on their platform in general.
You know, I think it's funny. I actually think because Devin did that whole video talking about that, right? And he talks a lot about, you know, YouTube is stealing the Twitch playbook by buying event creators and sponsoring events, and YouTube's pushing events and stuff like that, because that's how Twitch got big back in the day. They went esports events, and it made Twitch become a platform for that. But the thing that's really interesting to me, like that's Devin's whole video is talking about that. But the thing that's really interesting to me is that I think Twitch is actually taking some really good steps. Right? People don't want to see it and they don't want to talk about it because it's so trendy, right? It is so trendy to talk about how much Twitch sucks, right? Like there are YouTubers in the education space, such as, you know, Devin and Alpha, who will make a video taking a mess up that Twitch has done and just aggressively doubling down on it because it's good for clicks and it's important to talk about it and give them feedback. That's not me being critical of Devin and Harris either, by the way. That is a thing, right? But the problem is, right, when you do that, then people watch that video, they go to our Twitch, which is a dumpster fire for Twitch streamers, and essentially while they're there, the information gets twisted, right? And it just becomes a purely screw Twitch. But they ignore all the good steps that Twitch is actually taking, right? Like what, at GlitchCon, they gave $1 million to, or something crazy amounts to charity. You know, they hosted the giant in-person, one of the biggest Twitch collabs ever, the Fall Guys Twitch rivals, or sorry, just general Twitch rivals with the mini games and stuff. Like they're doing such cool stuff, but we ignore it because, well, cool, Twitch is supposed to do that. Like it's like,
It's just getting completely overshadowed.
Yeah.
You're right. And he even says that in his video. He's like, yeah, look, I'm a part of the problem. Like I do my doom and gloom videos as well, but I also need to bring attention to the good stuff that Twitch is doing. And
yeah, and you see that as well with like Twitch in general, is that from like the back end, if you want to get on the front page of Twitch, like I should say this is for Australia, New Zealand, I'm sure it's the same for globally, they are more interested in promoting on their front page things that are unique and not just playing video games. So you can see that they're trying to stretch out, not just be like, we're the video game platform where you just watch people play video games, but rather we're going to do this big event. We're going to do game shows. We're going to do music events. They're trying to make it more so like an actual entertainment hub than a video game hub. That's where I think that they want to go with live streaming. Don't get me wrong. We know that when Justin TV was a thing, and it was legitimately that in the day of like a real person's life and the things that got the clicks with the video game section, I now feel like they're trying to be like, okay, we've hit the peak of what video games can be on terms of a live streaming platform. Where else can we expand more so than other channels or avenues out there? So you can tell they're really pushing that.
And one of the reasons,
I mean, IRL streaming's boomed.
Oh,
sorry, I was just
like one of the reasons why that's good and also bad as well is really interestingly is because that's the reason why people are having like so much anger towards the hot tubs and pools category, why they're having so much anger towards IRL streams, because if the streamer doesn't come back to being a part of their culture, the Twitch culture, which is the most powerful thing Twitch has in its pocket, is just the insane culture they have built, that YouTube, I don't think will be able to do that on a corporate level. I think maybe their streamers could do it, or maybe their content creators could do it, but you can't build a culture with money. I mean, look at the YouTube Rewind, right? Like it's just, you can't do it.
No, you can't. And I think, and Devin brought up a point in that video as well. It's like, if anybody could start that ball rolling, it would be Ludwig. Because like I found out about his extension that he's building from his video. You talked about it and Devin touched on it as well. Like to make, and it's funny when the description for it is to make YouTube more like Twitch. Like that's the description for the extension, right? Yeah. And you know that if that, like, you know how strong the culture and ecosystem of Twitch is when the literal description for a YouTube extension is to make it feel like Twitch. Yeah. You can make it, you can change it to your Twitch name. You can see all the normal emotes and stuff like that.
And, you know, there's a lot of hate on Twitch at the moment, and we're not ones to jump on the bandwagon. So let's really go into what were Twitch's biggest mistakes of the past year.
Oh, can I add one thing before we move on to the
Of course,
okay,
please.
I just want to add this one thing because I think it's so important, because content creators are going to ask the question. They're going to say, where should I start streaming, YouTube or Twitch? And I just want to add the fact that I want to point out a few moments in time, two particularly moments in time. 2017, YouTube adpocalypse hit. Every single content creator who was purely on YouTube as their major platform struggled. Some of the biggest content creators even went and had to go get other part-time jobs, take incredibly embarrassing sponsorships, all sorts of stuff, right? And then let's go forward to this year, much more recent. Let's look at OnlyFans. OnlyFans tried to ban adult content, which was something in the 90% mark of how much content was on there. And everyone who was on there who hadn't diversified across multiple other channels was suddenly panicking. They were going to lose their entire livelihood because some white old Karen on like boardroom said they didn't want adult content on OnlyFans. So for everyone who's probably going to ask the question of YouTube versus Twitch, I'm going to say diversify, okay? Make YouTube content, make TikTok content, spread yourself across platforms that you can be on top of, because you don't control any of them. Even your Discord server that you think you control, you do not control that. That can go away overnight because Microsoft buys Discord and then they decide they're going to make it Teams, Discord Teams.
I was going to say, yeah, Skype.
Like legit,
for sure.
Or Discord's going to go, we're going to add NFTs to the whole thing, right? Like, or Nitro is now in the blockchain. We don't control any of this as creators in the digital space. The only way to protect yourself is to diversify where your content is coming from and where your followers and your viewers are, because otherwise you're screwed if overnight something goes wrong. It's just
don't put your eggs in one basket. And that's what Lud did from the very beginning. He had like he was the most aggressive attack plan that I've ever seen from a creator, where he's like, I'm going to make YouTube videos. And then like LJ touched on before as well, like his live streams, he allocates a portion to recording a YouTube video. So he's doing two birds with one stone during his live stream, takes that, puts it on YouTube. So he's able to just constantly pump out content all the time. And then both of them rose together.
Yeah, it's and then, like we are greedy people. I know that if I'm infatuated with something, I want more. Like that's just like human nature. If you really like something, you want as much as information. Like when Squid Games come out. Like I know this is a really shitty analogy at the moment, but everyone's talking about Squid Games. Mr. Beast jumps on Squid Games. They're just the more that we can get out there that hits on a hot topic, the better. Let's keep in mind that also Ludwig did 600 daily uploads on his YouTube alone, and that's what brought people over there. Because if you just go live on Twitch, you don't get follows when you don't go live. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Unless you have that diversification, like LJ, like Nick was saying, that you need to spread yourself out. Now, don't get us wrong. You are going to get burnout. It is going to be hard. It is going to be, there's going to be days where you're like, oh my God, is this really paying off? But it does in the long run. You just have to keep at it and be smart with it. Don't just put anything up and be like, oh, I've done my bit. You've got to think about what's going to get those clicks, what's going to be interesting for you to watch or your audience to watch or new people to watch. So yeah, it's a really good point that you make in terms of really diversify, because back in the day, MySpace was the top shit. Facebook comes along. Now people are against Facebook and they're like, we're going to Instagram, even though Facebook owns that. It's a weird world that like flips on its head very, very quickly.
They might even lose Instagram, because I know there's like, saw some stories that like some governments are having pushback to Facebook owning Instagram and stuff. So they might not even own that in the next year or so.
Damn.
But it's so easy to like, there are so many tools that exist right now that didn't even exist more than a year ago.
Yeah.
Like things that can auto caption your videos, Streamlabs, which is like a super easy tool to like just get your clips into like TikTok form and stuff like that, and YouTube Shorts. Like just being able to quickly put that on Twitter when you go live. So if people see that, they're like, oh, I'm going to click over and see if they're live. Just like there's constantly content everywhere else when you're not live. Like it's so easy to do these days compared to what it was back in the day. So it's like it's way easier to diversify, and really there's no excuse not to diversify. There really isn't.
Well, people say, I'm too busy and all that stuff like that, and I totally understand that, right? It's really interesting, right? Because you said something a second ago, Reapz, about burnout, and I want to throw it out there, right? This is something that I feel like a lot of people don't understand. They go, how do I come up with a YouTube idea and then stream the YouTube idea and then edit it down when I'm trying to be entertaining on stream and stuff like that? I've got no one in my chat to talk to. I'm zero viewer Andy. I got nothing going on, right? The actual concept of doing that hour segment is the reason why so many people avoid burnout, right? Because you go live and your goal on that live isn't to get follows. The goal on that live isn't necessarily to talk to a bunch of people in chat and stuff like that. Your goal is to make a product at the end of it that can be turned into a YouTube video. Like, so let's look at 2 nights ago. 3 nights ago. Let's start 3 nights ago. I'll take you back to when I was a young man 3 nights ago. I had one of my best streams that I've had in the past 3 months. So essentially 2.5 months ago, I changed my content. I went from averaging easy 225 down to 130, 150, right? Also some other stuff happened, but that's the gist of it. So 3 nights ago on Tuesday, I averaged like 150. I had like 400 unique chatters or something like that. I had a crap load of subs come in. Those unique chatters is great, by the way. Like that's huge, because normally a unique chatters, if you have like 100 viewers, your unique chatters will be around like 200. And so it was great. I had a really solid stream, really engaging, went amazing. The next night I go live, 78 average viewers. It was one of my worst streams I've had in the past year. The next day was that much worse, but I didn't feel bad, because the next night was a concept for a YouTube video that I have a product now that I can turn into a YouTube video, right? And then last night, I go live again. I have the whole concept is a YouTube video, but it should work better as a live stream. I'm getting like 100, 110 average. I get a raid of 87. Doesn't matter though, right? At the end of the stream, I look and I've actually gotten like only 10 new follows, right? And that's not much for my channel. On my channel, if I get a normal night, I should get around 20 to 30 new follows, right?
That's great.
So I'm looking at 10 and I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I have a piece of content that I can turn into a video. Right? Like it's evergreen. That will stay forever. That act of, and so that means that my low followers or my low engagements, any of this stuff that happened, it doesn't matter. My entire worth isn't based around a single live stream that when it ended, it doesn't get better or worse. It is literally just, there you go. You had a shit live stream. You feel bad. Right?
Yep.
And I think that is so important creators understand, is that if it ends when you end your live, you will burn out and hate your content so quickly. because those numbers define you.
Yeah. Yeah. As we're talking about with like diversification as well, it's good to spread yourself elsewhere, because I know like with myself or I think it's for a lot of people as well. If you focus solely on the one thing, say that your work is your life and you've only got that one basket, let's just say your basket is Twitch, and all you do is grind on Twitch and you don't see those numbers going up, and that's all you can think about when you go to sleep. That's where you're trying to make your income, which a lot of people do, which I would be like, please just have another way. You really have to be like, okay, so this isn't working out for me at the moment. What can I do elsewhere that I can set the foundations that will lead or funnel back into Twitch or whatever it is that you're going after? Always have something else. Even if it's a hobby, even if it's just like something that you can get your mind off it, you need to think outside the box. Please do not just put yourself in one tunnel, because you see people quitting streaming because I know that when you see streaming, people look at XQC and goes, he's just playing a video game. You know what I mean? They don't see the 4 or 5 years beforehand of him like having to play pro Overwatch, you know, for 12 hours a day. He got found, you know, on those big Owl League things, and then he became a variety streamer. They just think he's now making $8 million, you know, that kind of thing. It's so easy. They don't understand that it really is luck of the draw sometimes, and obviously hard work that has to pay off. I've got it on my phone actually. Now this is a really cliche thing, but I always have this like motto on my phone where it goes, the harder you work, the luckier you get, right? So as long as you put yourself out there, because I think a lot of people don't do streaming, or they criticize other streamers because they themselves are afraid of failure. Because they know if they put themselves out there, they can only talk to themselves or look at themselves and go, I don't have these numbers. What's wrong with me? Rather than what's wrong with the product. And you have to separate those two. I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
When I was a teenager, I made YouTube videos. All right. They weren't good. They were embarrassing. They were terrible. They've all been deleted off the internet now. Don't Google it.
Actually, I have.
That's what you think, LJ.
But here's the thing. I deleted them because one of my mates, I'm not going to say his name, but I'm tempted to, made fun of me. Like but not even like making fun like Aussies do. Like he was like a bully, even though he was supposed to be my friend, right? And it really sucked. So I deleted it, right? 2 years later, right? I see he's uploading YouTube videos. I'm like, I can do this. Like I could easily be who you are right now. I could be what you did to me, where you were an awful person and shout on me. But instead, you know what I commented? Hey man, this was great. I'm so glad you're uploading these. It's a real fun process, isn't it? Can't wait to see your next one. And you know what?
That's awesome, dude.
You know what? He didn't upload a single other one.
If that is an example of killing with kindness, I don't know what is. Like,
revenge is a dish best served really, really warm. Honestly, that's awesome. That's what it is. Like, if you become that person that was like that to you, and you know how it feels, I think there's a lot more compassion there. And if you want to be the bigger person like you did, it's just so much harder to be positive. It's so much harder to be positive than it is to be toxic. If we go back to, talking about shitting on Twitch and all that kind of stuff. But once you be positive and you can see the goodness in it, that's when you can actually focus in and go, actually, they got really good tools. Like if you've ever seen LG's YouTube videos where it's like, these are the tools that I use. Here's the engagement things that you need to look at. I didn't realize some of them. I was like, oh shit, there's that, sub goal thing. There's, obviously you can see the stats in terms of your go live messaging. It's those simple things that people just take for granted. When you scroll a page of like, say, any kind of Twitch stream, right? There's 50 billion things going on. But if you have an interesting set, like, just behind Nick there, if I scroll down and I see that compared to my shitty like background there, I'll be like, yo, I'm clicking on this guy's stream. You've got to think outside the box. There's thumbnails. If you have like a set or like a really cool BRB screen, people are going to see that. I mean, you don't know when they're going to scroll, but there's always going to be someone scrolling. So you got to think outside the box and what's going to get those people in.
100%.
Yeah, most of my thumbnails are just me, like my face zoomed in on the entire thing. But
because it sells, man, it sells. Sex sells. You got this.
That's the money maker. It does. Baby. It's the money maker.
There's a thing I want to touch on. Like, so two things that you said. So, like, a bit on the burnout thing, and just how much content creation, streaming in particular, how much of a mental toll like that takes. Yes. Like the amount of hours. Like, there's a reason why the contract Lud took about that streaming less hours, because like it's just such a less mental toll, and he gets to spend that mental energy on things that are, I guess, in a way less stressful, because he can just, in his process, in his own time, he can work on things. And there's a massive understatement of how mentally taxing this all is.
It really
is really, really tough. And that's why burnout happens. That's why you see streamers quite often, they'll say like, nah, I'm taking a week off this week. Or you see people like, nah, I'm taking a mental health day today, because some days you just really can't do it, and you don't want to. And look, for good reason. Like if you're not feeling 100%, you're better off taking that day off, coming back feeling refreshed tomorrow. And on the thing that LJ said about being afraid to experiment with new content and try new things, it happens a lot, because when people start to see some growth, they're like, oh, this is working, I'm going to stick with it, I'm not going to do anything else. And they try and especially when people get close to partnership numbers, and because they're like, oh my God, I'm getting really close, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to do anything and risk my average, because that average is so powerful and holds you accountable, because
numbers.
Yeah. And you kind of get locked in, and sometimes you may be able to maintain just enough to get that tick, but in some cases it's gonna fluctuate even more, and you're gonna think, crap, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing different? I'm too scared to try something new, because what if it doesn't do well? And now I've just shot my average in the foot, and I have to spend another month trying to build that average up. Like, I think some of the biggest mental stress, like people fixate on the tick so much and that 75 average that it becomes a detriment to them in a lot of cases. And I can say for myself, like that's happened to me too. Like my personal experience was when Minecraft Dungeons came out. I was very lucky that I had a good relationship with Xbox, and I got 5 days early access to it. I was allowed to stream it before, because I was part of the very small selection of people around the world. I was able to stream it 5 days early. So I was cranking like 100, a bit over 100, and that was so new to me. I was used to streaming to like 40 people.
Yeah.
And so that was great. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is a game that I can that has enough content. I guess I can keep going for a while. But there wasn't enough content in the game. And I pushed myself just hoping. And then after about a week or so, the averages started to dip a little bit, because I was getting really, really close to the 75 average. And then after I pushed myself a bit over a month of dungeons, just doing the same crap over and over. And I was like, okay, guys, I got to stop dungeons. And I didn't hit that average. And the only thing, I didn't really gain much. The only thing I gained was people who only watch some dungeons content, and a lot of people that wanted to watch something different were just like, oh, he's just streaming dungeons again. And then I ended up in a bit of a burnout, right? And I had to take a week off. So
it's so interesting about the partner push, right? Because I get a lot of people who started watching me on my YouTube channel, because if anyone's listening doesn't know, I have a stream education channel, so like 100K subs, and it just covers pretty much the 0 to 100 process. I'm not going to make content about how to get thousands. I don't have thousands. I just cover that 0 to 100 and talk about partner and affiliate and stuff like that, right? And I get a lot of people who start watching, they're amazing creators, and they boom, right? They boom hard in like 6 months with a little bit of guidance. They've gone from 0 and they're at like 75 or 60, or they're close to it, and they'll comment or they'll reach out or they'll Twitter DM me, and they'll be like, LJ, I'm so close to partner. Do you have any advice for the application? Do you have any advice for this? Do you have any advice for that? And I always say the exact same thing. Don't focus on it, and be prepared to lose a huge number of your viewers the moment you get partner. Not because they're doing it on purpose, but because every single Twitch partner, every single one who gets partner, usually tanks to about 50% of their normal viewership that they've had the last few months right after doing it. And most people say it's either two things. It's either one, the partner push excites your community, they want to be a part of it, but then there's no real payoff other than a tick. It doesn't seem cool after the big celebration. And the second one, you kind of just relax. You stop focusing so much. And because of that relaxation, that relax back, the content does take a bit of a dip, and people then also head off. Or there's no big, new, exciting thing you've got planned, and you feel a bit burned out. But almost every creator that I've looked at, I think I've looked at like 50 plus partners who, after you're reaching partner, every single one of them, their viewership just goes and just tanks back down.
I was going to bring up the point is, that's exactly it. I really hated back in the day. I think people may still do it now, but you see that their titles alone for their go lives day 46 of grind to partner, you know, some shit like that. And that immediately turns me off because I know that one, I feel like I'm being used. I know I shouldn't feel like that, but it's like, I want you to come in here for my push to partner. Obviously, if you like the person, do it. But I will never click on a video if I don't know the streamer that says day 40, blah, blah, blah of partner push, because it's like, what's in it for me? I'll rather much have like that title of like, you know, let's rank some fast food or some shit like that. Something that like hook me in, that's irreverent. Love it, all that kind of stuff. But the big thing for me is that my whole tenure, like, you know, when you start out on Twitch, everybody wants to be partner. They think it's like, this is, I'm successful. Now that I've got this tick next to my name, I've got it made, I'm going to get paid, you know, I've got an income for life. The only difference that you have when hitting partner is you have a tick next to your name and a few more emotes at the end of the day. Yes, there's other benefits and things like that, but it will not change your life. It is not the you know, the fountain of youth. It is not the holy grail, because it really is just a tick. If you go on Twitter, do you follow someone because they got a tick next to their name? Of course you don't. You're just saying that they're verified. It's the same with Twitch.
Yeah. I'm more likely if their tweet's good, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Maybe Twitter is a bad one.
I agree.
Yeah. But it's that thing of like, I don't know if you feel the same, LJ, but yeah, it's nice to feel like I'm a Twitch partner. But in the scheme of things, I watch so many streamers that aren't Twitch partner and are doing amazing things that are better than people, because I know that some people, when they hit partner, that whole drive, that whole everything about them just becomes no longer good content. It's just, I've made it, and now what do I do?
Very
what do I do?
Yeah. It's like so many, and like I've had so many conversations with people about this as well. Like so many people see the tick as the end goal. Like that's it.
It's
After
the beginning
tick,
line. It's the starting line.
It
Right?
is
where it starts.
It is the closing of one chapter and the opening of a new one. Like like you said, the tick opens up more opportunities, right? But it's really the start. Like you have literally been in like the kind of like the amateur tutorial process until this point.
Like tutorial island. Yeah.
Exactly. Like so many people just think you get like, especially back in the day, like going back 5 years ago, like they're like, you get the tick, you've done it, you've made it, you are the big shot now. But like, no, like the tick is just like, it's just a milestone. That's it.
Yeah. There's
so much more past that, especially if you're passionate about creating content. There's so much more past that. Like you'll be able to do so many more things and be able to like, just like, I think the especially when you want to create a career out of content creation in general, like when you have the ticket, like companies or brands will look at you and think, okay, well, they've been verified by Twitch, so they must have some influence. And so they're more willing to get paid deals. And that's what the post-paid deals are, what actually can create that constant income and goes towards actually creating a career. But yeah, there's so much more after it. And I get frustrated when people just look at the tick as like an end goal. It's like, nah. There's so much more.
It's just an ornament, like more than anything. And don't get me wrong, like it does open up opportunity. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny the fact that you've got like a kind of instant access, as it were, to people behind the scenes at Twitch, more so than if you're an affiliate or just
for us,
not
though,
an affiliate.
by the way. That's just for us.
Yeah.
I know partners overseas in like every single country now, in every single region. And Twitch ANZ, can I just throw a throw out there? I don't know if this is allowed to be said. Twitch ANZ is so much more hands-on, so much more active, and so much more supportive of their content creators who are in the partnership team. Legitimately, the ANZ Twitch partnership team is the best team in the entirety of Twitch. From what I've heard from other partners who make similar content, who do other things, even people 10 times bigger than me with 1,000 viewers, they don't get a single message. And you might say, well, it's because, you know, ANZ has a lot less creators, right? But we've still got Loserfruit and Pestily and other big people. And it's like the fact that me, 100 viewer Andy, can get sent an email, or 120, whatever I am, right? Get sent an email from the Twitch team and go, hey, we're partnering with X brand and we want you to be in the ad for it. Like that is insane. Yeah. That is insane, right? And it just doesn't happen around the world. Or like, hey, LJ, just going to give you a heads up, man. We want to put you on the front page for Halloween. Like what? Like really me? It's like, yeah, we want to put you on the front page of Halloween. It's like, okay, sure. Like that is it. That is wild. And no other country gets that. Like no other region gets that, as far as I've been told by other partners.
Yeah, look at the recently with what Twitch NZ did with like the banners, like around like in the public eye, like those big banners they've been doing around this, like the different cities and stuff. Like it's crazy to think like it makes you wonder why. Like, what's different about Twitch ANZ specifically compared to the other Twitch regions? You know, that why they're being able to do all this stuff. Like, you look at grassroots. I have had so many people from different countries going, why can't they do grassroots for the other regions?
Yeah.
For context.
That's where I got my start.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on grassroots. Yeah. I started streaming in 2017, the beginning of, and I then got on the grassroots program. I think it was like November, December of 2017. And it was more this thing of like, I only had about like 500, 600 followers. I don't even know, maybe 1,000. I don't remember. But it was always nice to be like, yo, these people up at like Twitch ANZ offices are watching me and they want me to be part of this 2-week showcase. Honestly, and when we talk to those people at Twitch ANZ, they are so lovely. They're so nice. They're always like, I got sent this big shipment of Gillette because I was doing a Gillette sponsorship, right? And they're like, are you okay with them having your address? Are you okay with them bringing the house? It's like a pallet and things like that. And I'm like, they've got like WHS and OHS for somebody who's at this home. You know what I mean? What the fuck? It's so nice to feel that way. And as you said, LJ, because you've got more experience with those partners overseas, I can imagine if you go to North America Twitch offices, they've got how many thousands of partners, you know? And some of those partners, I guarantee, don't even stream anymore. But it's nice to have this kind of corporation, I wouldn't say corporation, people, staff looking over you and treating you as an actual business person. Because I know that if I tell people, let's just go on a little bit of a tangent here, but people ask me, it's like, what do you do for a living? And my immediate backup is, a porn is my it's editing. I'm a video editor. That's what I say. It just makes it so much easier. But if you go, I'm on Twitch, they're like, what's Twitch? And it's like, oh, I play video games. Like, people watch you play. It's just that you don't want to take 10 minutes out of your life. So I just go, I video edit, and you know, I do live video editing to an extent. So and they don't really understand it. But to have these people to go, yo, we fully back what you do. And this is great. It's just a nice sensation to be like, okay, I'm actually being looked out for, which apparently Ludwig, to wrap it all back around to that, didn't feel like he had compared to YouTube, even though YouTube will, I'm guessing, fall into that kind of degree as well.
He should have lived in Australia, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, dude, ANZ would have treated you right, Ludwig, if you ever hear this, mate. Twitch ANZ would have given you a foot massage, a spank on the butt, and sent you on that field. They would have loved you, man. Hey, speaking of fails, like not being a part of the ANZ content creation team, should we talk about some of the general Twitch fails? Because just please, I feel like there's been some big Twitch fails in a lot of different ways, both in the industry and on Twitch. And for some reason, most of the time, the Twitch ANZ Twitter starts getting hated on, despite them being like 6 people in an office doing their best, right?
Yeah, I know.
And a big one, probably that started out most of the year, I'd say, was probably the big backlash to the hot tub streamers, right? Like
that was huge. I remember that like specifically because the big thing was, I think a lot of the just chatting streamers, I think there was some sort of backlash to the fact that the most, you know, in the top 5 or 6, you know, whatever it is, thumbnails at the top were women in bikinis, you know, just in bikinis talking. And so then they're like, they can only wear revealing clothing, to that extent, bikinis, if they actually buy a water.
If there's water in the image.
Yes, that's right. So to come around that, Amaranth, being the crazy businesswoman that she is, put in a hot tub in her house to stream from. That is 5-head thinking right there. That is some serious amazingness coming from Amaranth's behalf.
She's like that's how to like circumvent Twitch TOS. Like, oh, so it has to be contextual? Well, I'm in a hot tub. What are you going to do about it? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's so loosey-goosey as is. So then it was the weirdest day ever when you browsed the top things. It was like just chatting, League of Legends, and then hot tubs and beaches. I forget the exact phrasing.
They took about a month and a half to add the category. Yeah. So it took a while. It was about a month and a half to 2 months of just them in the just chatting section, right? Before anything was changed about it. And I'll tell you what, guys, as someone whose audience is, you know, 100K small streamers over on YouTube, and then everyone in my audience on Twitch is all small streamers, right? They're all fucking asking me every day for like bloody 12, 10, 15, I don't know how many times it was, but I'd be live and I have so many people come in, LJ, what are your thoughts on the hot tub debacle and the hot tub stream? I believe it is ruining Twitch. I believe that the ad revenue will pull out and it will ruin Twitch. Do you think that Twitch is on the downhill because of this? And I was getting so annoyed. I'd be like, no, I don't think so. I don't give a shit what these women do. All the power to them, right? But all right, can we skip ahead now? 6 months. All right, let's skip ahead to 6 months. Hot tub stream had been happening. I had to hear about it so much every single day, right? And then the gambling meta starts, where some of the biggest content creators on the entirety of the platform, like top 10 content creators, now top 50 because all they do is pull a slot every day, essentially were doing gambling streams. And they were being sponsored too. They weren't sponsored to be in hot tubs. They were sponsored to promote gambling with affiliate links. Yeah. And I didn't get asked once, not by a single small and upcoming content creator, why this was going to kill Twitch, why this was going to hurt ad revenue, why any of this stuff was going to happen. And I've been really outspoken about this now on my channel whenever the hot tub stuff comes out. Why? Why the fuck do I have to listen to you guys, not you guys, obviously, but listen to people rant about hot tub streamers and how they're destroying Twitch and how they're destroying ad revenue, but not a single one gives a shit that there are people actively promoting a life-crippling addiction with an affiliate code on Twitch, where it's been proven that in like 3 months, one of the people's audience lost $5 million. They lost $5 million to gambling in those 3 months because
far out.
Because they leaked what their affiliate cut was. So they leaked how much they made in 3 months in their affiliate cut and what the percentage of the affiliate they got was of the losing to the house. And so we were able to work out roughly that was $5 million across 3 months, right? And Twitch's response, you can no longer show affiliate codes. As I said, I'm not one to jump on backlash for Twitch. I like to give them credit where it's due, but that was not enough. That was not enough, man. I was real disappointed, right, to see that was such how it was. And it blew my mind. I don't know. It blew my mind, guys.
It is. Well, I watched this YouTube channel. You may have heard of it, like CoffeeZilla. He does things about kind of Bitcoin and, you know, all that gambling stuff. And basically, these offshore companies are paying streamers to gamble, obviously, on their things and do the affiliate links and everything like that. And the people see it because they're not actually gambling with their own money. This is the money that's been given to them by these corporations.
Millions of dollars a month,
yeah. And it's illegal, by the way, because the only way that they can operate is they can't do it in North America. They've got to do it offshore. So they, you know, operate out of, I think, a South American, you know, country, something like that, to get around these things. But Twitch has no problem with the fact that, you know, it's basically saying, yeah, feel free to click on this link that takes you to an outside US source from what you're doing, put in your affiliate code, and then use your credit card to gamble away, because you're seeing these big time streamers, you know, win millions, thousands, whatever of dollars per stream, which is not their money, which they've been given to by the company. And it just boggles the mind that it's more the fact that I feel like we're living in that age where it's like there used to be this big court case back in the day of how metal music, I think it was one of Snyder from, I think, Twisted Sister or something, had to appear in court and defend himself against mothers saying that the metal music was affecting their kids to do kind of homicidal, murderous things, right? And it feels like I could imagine in a Twitch court of law, we're going to see all these women in bikinis have to defend themselves in terms of all these, you know, like teenagers go, why are this allowed on Twitch? When in the background, there's a money laundering scheme happening that they're just turning a blind eye to.
Legit, right? Oh, I'm down $675,000, and I always tell people, don't gamble. How much did you get? How much did you get paid as a sponsorship? I got paid like more than $1 million this month for the sponsorship, and I'm down $675 in total. So you're net positive $400,000 roughly just for this 1 month, right? In all time. Oh, and you've also got your affiliate code, which you're not talking about. And also, I feel bad when someone gifts me subs, right? And I know some people will join, and I'm sure everyone in this call will agree with this, and every single content creator will agree with this, right? If you've got some sort of heart. If someone says, I'm so glad I'm finally in a position where I can sub again. I'm normally really broke and I'm able to sub now. I always say, don't.
Just don't.
I'm fine. I make enough. Do not give me your money if you can't earn it. And the fact that they earn so much money from these affiliate links and these things like that and promoting this stuff while they know their audience is losing money to do it.
There's just no conscience.
It's insane. It is insane.
It's disgusting. Something really needs to be done. Like the fact that this is running rampant, that something so life crippling, like Eljay said, like something that can literally just ruin your life. Like you can just watch something, think, oh, that looks kind of fun. Oh, I like this streamer and he's doing this now. I might give it a shot as well. Oh, he's winning some money. Like I could use some money. I'm not doing too great myself. And then that's where it starts, and then it just crumbles from there. And it's just.
Yeah, as you said, Nick, and also Eljay's point in the back of like how you had, you know, hundreds of people go, what about this hot tub meta? Why are no people asking about what about this slots meta, which they literally made a category called slots? Yep. Like, it's not like for fake money. It's not like you're watching, you know, free poker money where it's not actual money, but, you know, it's actual money that they're gambling. And they're like, this is so easy to do. I click on this button and look at me. I've tallied up thousands and thousands of dollars. I know I'm preaching to the choir, by the way, but it really
we're preaching to everyone else now. Hopefully this opens people's eyes up to how bad this is. If anyone listens to this, they can understand it, because you also get the people who defend it, right? They defend it and say, well, what about people doing alcohol sponsored streams? It's like, okay, well, yeah, can a 19-year-old buy booze in America? No, it's regulated, aggressively regulated, right? And sure, some gambling is aggressively regulated, but I tell you what, it's much easier to lose tens of thousands of dollars on a slots machine online from the comfort of your couch than it is to put pants on, get in the car, drive over, show your ID, and then buy $40 worth of vodka. Like
in physical form.
I don't agree with alcohol streams necessarily. I don't do them. But I feel like people love this whataboutism, right? They love this whataboutism, and it makes no sense. I can be upset or frustrated with the fact that there's slot streams, alcohol streams, and whatever else, right? But people try and defend it with the whataboutism, and it blows my mind, like legitimately blows my mind. Luck-based gambling just has no place on Twitch. And luck-based gambling is the concept of you just pull a button, it's all coming down to RNG. I don't consider poker or blackjack to an extent luck-based, because you kind of have a decision to make. Yep. But I feel like if it's still sponsored and it's still being pushed as an affiliate, there are regulations that Twitch needs to do.
You see the backlash, obviously, of EA, you know, when they do the loot boxes on FIFA and stuff. Isn't this the exact same thing? You see people like EA, they just don't give a crap. They just want all the money and stuff, but they got no problems with the slot machines. Back over to you, Nick. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, I was like, it's funny you mentioned that, because that's literally what I'm about to talk about. And I have a case study of one in the form of my cousin. If you want an example of how influential it's going to be, my cousin, right?
Yep.
Love him to death. He's played FIFA or like as long as he's been a gamer, right? What does he do these days now? Now that he's of age, and every time he goes to a restaurant or like pokies, every time. And I've had a conversation with him, and we've joked about it, and I've given him shit for it, right? But he goes to the pokies now. He does it like his dad does it as well. There might be a little bit of influence from his dad as well, but honestly, he's played FIFA all his life, opening packs and like getting into that mindset's been ingrained in him of like, you know, like opening packs and just running your luck and seeing what you get. And now he goes to the pokies and he spends money on the poker machines now. And it's just like, it can happen. It's real. Like if you think, okay, if this is what FIFA can, I'm not saying it happens to everyone, but if this is what FIFA can do, right? Imagine what literal gambling in front of you from a creator that you may respect, what's that effect going to have? That's going to make someone even more like even higher chance of them actually going to do that.
It boggles my mind. As soon as a new FIFA game goes out, you know, I'm not sure if there's one out this year or next or whatever it is, but do yourself a favor. Every year, whatever time it is, even if it's like whatever sport, they always release a new one. I guarantee you, in that first week of going live with that new game, you go onto that Twitch category of FIFA 22 or whatever it is, it's constant opening of packs. You will not see any gameplay of soccer. You will just see people spending X amount of money to open these packs to get the dream team. It's like, I really want to get Ronaldo. I really want to get Ronaldo. You know, they open these loot boxes and then crazy, like they make it so spectacular. Fireworks, everything coming in. It's like, you can see why it's addictive and you can see why EA is putting it in, because that's where they make their money. They don't give a about the game itself. People pay $60, but then how much money do they spend after the fact they paid $60 with all these packs? I guarantee it's triple, quadruple, whatever it is. It's insane.
It really is.
As someone who's bought a decent amount of Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I can say the regret is real. But
hey, speaking of regret, by the way, if we're going to talk regret, Can we talk about how probably Streamlabs and Logitech have a fudge load of regret right now for that Lightstream website? That's probably the second biggest fail of the Twitch industry over the last year, right?
Yes.
That is a big oof.
Use Lobs?
I did.
Before we go into this?
I did.
Yeah.
And you're going to have another hot take from LJ. I actually think Streamlabs is a really solid source for beginners, right? Like I switched to OBS 7 months ago, but I used Streamlabs for my entire first year as a content creator. It has selective recording, which means it was perfect for when I wanted to turn create videos from it, meaning that like I could go stream, but I could have selective recording turned on so that none of my alerts showed up on the screen, none of my sub goals, anything like that. It was just me, my webcam, and my game capture or whatever, or whatever I wanted, right? So Stream only saw some, game saw stuff. It had built-in transition connections. So anyone who doesn't know what transition connections are, it's transition table, the plugin for OBS essentially, which allows you to have different transitions between different scenes, which OBS doesn't have built in, other than override, but that is just doesn't have enough control. And it has so many other things as well that are just built into it that I think beginners can just get in and go. Like even the motion plugin is built into it for transitions, which is such a powerful tool. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy for someone to install Streamlabs or Streamlabs OBS, what it used to call, but now it's Streamlabs Desktop, and they can start. Right. Do I think Streamlabs is the best software? No. But the same way I don't want Twitch or YouTube to win, I don't want anything in this space to come out as the only potential use. And all this stuff with Streamlabs, I got to say, while it sucks that they did dodgy things, I really wish there was a competitor for OBS. Because OBS, it needs to have transition table, the plugin installed in it for default, right? It needs to have the motion plugin installed on a default. It needs to have selective recording installed on it for default. Like, why are we installing track mat stingers when we don't even have a transition table built into the core OBS?
Yeah.
You know, like
it's fickle is what it is at the moment. As we said, like there's never good things that come out of no competition. Because I think that back in the day, there was OBS and there was it XSplit? XSplit was the other big one. And then now, you know, Elgato has their own kind of streaming thing. Game capture type thing. But there, again, nothing really touches OBS. And I love the fact that obviously it's open broadcast software, you know, it's free to do, but that still doesn't mean that necessarily it's the best that it can be or that all the intentions of content creators are at heart.
Oh yeah, please don't take this as aggressive criticism. Love OBS. Yeah, no. I'm just saying that I think that Streamlabs as a project, right? They did a lot of things wrong. But also the fact that they wanted to be used, the fact they had the capitalist drive, that they wanted to be the one that was downloaded is the reason why it became so friendly for beginners and why it's the only thing that's ever come up to fight OBS. Sure, they used OBS as bones, but I think the fact that you take OBS, like if someone made a plugin, right? If someone made a plugin that just with double click installed to OBS, all of the crucial ones that I just talked about, just like the basic ones that I think are crucial for every content creator. That's it, right?
There is kind of something like that exists already.
Yeah. Nick told me about this.
I told Reapz about this. There's a plugin manager called Starscape. It's a it's a little executable. You install it and then you tell it where your OBS install is, and then by default it has literally like almost every plugin that generally people use for OBS. And then if there's a plugin that, and it recognizes the plugins you already have installed too, as well.
That's awesome.
And if there's a plugin that you want that is not available, you just install the plugin the normal way, and then the software recognizes it straight away. So I think they're slowly going through and adding all the major used plugins, and it auto updates. You just open it, you click update, click, it auto updates.
I love it.
Really everything. So,
I'm adding one thing though.
Sure.
I'm going to say that I think that 99% of streamers who are starting out have no idea how to install a plugin. Even if it's a .exe, they're going to be like, where is my OBS folder?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Like this is what I mean, right? Like it just needs to be, you've got OBS, it's come with the crucial stuff, right? Like if you want to add funny blurs or pixelate your screen and stuff like that, sure. You're going to have to learn to install the StreamFX or the Stream Shaders plugins, right? But I feel like there are some things that just should be built in, and the plugins exist. Like OBS projects, they could do it easily. Go, hey, we want to buy the tables, the transition tables plugin as a core part of OBS. Will you guys help by donating to the project? And I would be the first one there. If they said that they were going to add it as a core thing, I'd be the first one there going, take my money. Take it, please. Because I want to be able to recommend you to a core beginner who doesn't even know how to install fonts on their computer, because that's 99% of people.
Yep. Very true. Very true.
Thankfully though, like over the years, things have gotten a lot better. Like you've got Twitch themselves, and I think I want to say Microsoft or Mixer at the time had like, they were one of those, like, you know, OBS has those different like Patreon style tiers of support, like with how much money they're basically funding OBS, because that is the bread and bones of live streaming and a lot of just general content creation in general. Like even if you make YouTube content, a lot of people still use OBS as well to record a lot of stuff. So a lot of platforms send a lot of money to OBS, which is great because we want to see them keep going and innovating as well. But yeah, like if we're like, oh look, we just need a little bit of money to buy this plugin, people would be like, oh, absolutely. But they're already making a fair amount of money already from all the support.
I know someone's going to hear this and think that I'm being aggressively against OBS. I'm not. No. I love it. I want it to just be more beginner friendly. Because I don't think people realize, like, I work with these people who are trying to become streamers day in, day out. I am in that Discord with 50,000 people right there, and I am giving them feedback and help on setting this stuff up literally by myself with like 2 other mods and then a few people in the community who are active, right? And most of the time it is the same like 15 to 20 things. And if they're doing OBS, it becomes same 200 issues. Right. And if I could just say, if I felt comfortable being able to just be like, man, look, just go use Streamlabs, then all they would need to do is set up their mic. And it's such a painful thing for me, especially in the current climate with everything they've done wrong, to be like, you can use OBS. And they're like, yeah, but I've tried. I don't know how. Oh, well, if you just install a plugin, here's how you do it. Here's a video on how to install it. Yeah, I've watched that video. I can't install that plugin. I don't know. It's not working for me. Well, you could use Streamlabs, and then someone's like, hey, you're not allowed to recommend Streamlabs, little boy. It's like it's like, you've just watched me for 40 minutes try and help this guy get his motion plugin installed properly, right? Get transition table installed properly, and it's just not working for him. Just let the poor bastard use Streamlabs, because it is so simple to set up.
Yeah. The like as terrible as all the things that they've done, and we can touch on one real quick for anyone who doesn't know all the different companies they've had issues with. But I think people also love a villain to hate. At the end of the day as well. They just love a villain to hate. It's like, oh, who are we hating on today? Like, everyone wakes up like, okay, let's go down the list. Let's hate on you today.
If I go down the list, you mean go down the Twitter feed, right? Because it's
the Twitter feed exactly.
Got Reflect today.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's a weird thing, isn't it? Because you look at it, and to those people who don't really know what's going on in regards to the whole
I jumped in. Sorry, I didn't give context.
No, not at all. It's the fact that all these other startup businesses for content creation have had sometimes it's their marketing stolen, sometimes it's the actual plugin themselves, like streaming on a console. There was a thing about that, and basically Streamlabs took that and did the same marketing and just changed it to say, Streamlabs or things. That's basically the gist of it. They took other people's ideas that were, they discussed with them in emails or just not in general, and they just made it their own without really giving them the proper diligence and obviously maybe monetary income for it. So that's basically where everything is at the moment.
The 3 major ones were OBS existed. Streamlabs took their open broadcasting software and built a skin over the top of it, which is called Streamlabs OBS. They didn't approve OBS. They asked OBS, and OBS said, no, please don't use OBS in the name. That's a big thing, which means that OBS is always second running now. Even if you Google OBS, Streamlabs comes up because they have a bigger budget as a corporate capitalist concept. And then the second one was Elgato specifically, which is everyone loves Elgato, created a Stream Deck for phone and a few other things. And then Streamlabs pretty much yoink and twisted that into Streamlabs Deck on their phone. And then the third big one was the recent one, Lightstream, which Lightstream is a fantastic service. Stream Scheme has worked with them on the website side, where essentially you can take a console and stream directly to Lightstream, add overlays, and then push it on over to Twitch or whatever platform you want. And Streamlabs yoink and twisted that and added their own version of it. But they didn't just yoink and twist. They then yoinked the entire web page word for word.
Yes.
And they tried to pretend it was copy. Like it was just like, oh, it was default copy that we took for a second.
Yeah, it was a template. It was a template.
We just started off with. Just an idea. We really loved it, so we were inspired by it. So Streamlabs, why did you change the names under the reviews then?
Yeah. It was a fun one. It was a fun one.
So those are the three essentially, and so everyone's angry.
But I think at the core, what you're saying is completely right, LJ, in terms of if you make a consumer-friendly piece of programming software that people can operate better, because I know that I still, to this day, for some plugins, I have to watch a tutorial on YouTube because sometimes they're super, super complicated. Like I watch a person called Defrag, and he makes it so simple for me. If I did it myself, I'm sure I would be able to do it. But the fact that he can just do it in like 2 minutes and he's like, put it here, do this, blah, 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 makes it so much easier. Kind of like Excite Bike, you know, that we're seeing over there.
Sorry, I clicked into my OBS because I wanted to check a plugin name. And while I accidentally clicked onto my 3DS, my very real 3DS overlay that I definitely use when I plug my 3DS into OBS. Yes. And that's what that was. But I was trying to look up the shader plugin I use. It's the main one. It's the big one that everyone uses because like
oh yeah, I can't.
Stream Effects.
I don't know if it's Stream Effects. It's similar to Stream Effects. I think it's something, and it comes with a bunch of default shaders, right?
Yes.
Half of them crash OBS.
Oh, yeah, half of them don't even work. Yeah, like half of them just straight up don't even work.
There's some days where I quit OBS and it does that stupid circle thing where it's like not responding. And I'm like, just shut my OBS down. Like why is this plugin interfering with shutting it down? But yeah, I get it all the time.
I don't know. Somewhere along the track, my OBS is a bit of a Frankenstein. Like I've shoved so many plugins into this thing and I've got so much stuff shoved into my OBS. So like every time I close OBS, the crash pop-up comes up saying OBS crash when it didn't and I can reopen it and it's fine. But yeah, my OBS takes like literally like 2 minutes to open. And then every time that I close OBS, it's like OBS has crashed. So so for me to close it, it crashes. So I don't know what's going on, but I agree with you. There's so much they could do to make it user-friendly. Like even so simply make a little like button somewhere for like under the buttons for start streaming, start recording, studio mode settings, like add a button that says plugins and you click that button, it opens up a box and you just drag the plugin folder in, just like drag it in.
Like, on the side of Stream Deck, it's just like, here's all the things that we recommend that's been verified by us that we think would be great for Stream Deck. And you just download it.
By the way, anyone who's listening to this and is thinking, you guys are idiots, you're just not good enough at OBS or anything like that. You're thinking that about 3 Twitch partners who all have used OBS for a fucking long time now, who all have pretty dynamic streams with zooms and different effects and pixelations and blurs and all sorts of different stuff, right? Especially Reapz has got some crazy shit going on. And yet we all are saying it. Now imagine how it feels when you're a brand new beginner coming in. You are screwed. It's not fun. But before, I figure we can probably keep scooting along because I know I spend a long time on stuff. Before we get on to the final one, all about data and leaks, I want to give you guys some data that I've been collecting over the past 9 months on that topic.
Hit me.
9 months ago, I asked my audience on YouTube, what do you use? OBS or Slobs? Because it was Slobs at the time. We had 4.1K votes, so 4,100 votes. 58% said OBS and 42% said Streamlabs. All right. Okay. Skip forward.
So quite close.
Quite close. Skip forward 5 months. And by the way, we also should clarify, if someone is on YouTube and they're a part of the streaming space, enough that they're going to get recommended my poll, they probably also watch people like Nutty and Harris who not aggressively in that term of like anger, in the sense of persistently will recommend OBS for good reason. So it's likely more people use OBS who gets to see this poll. 5 months later, we've got 5.5K votes on the exact same question because I ask it every 4 to 5 months because I try and track where my audience is so I can decide on what tutorials to make work best for them, right? 5 months later, exactly the same, but 5,500 votes, 58% OBS, 42% Streamlabs. So no percentage change, but 1,400 new votes on it.
Crazy.
Now we cut forward to about 2 weeks ago.
When it all went down. Okay. Great.
What do you use? OBS or Streamlabs? 5.3K votes on it. So a little bit less voting, but still good. 72% said OBS and 28% said Streamlabs. That's like a 14% increase on OBS, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when for the last like 9 months, it's been equal or where it's in the same, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is. Like, especially because it was at the very start of it. Now, what I have to question about that poll is the fact that, do we think that only that percentage of people use it, or are they just clicking to pretend that I'm on the side of OBS, but I still use Slobs because it's easier to do? That's what I'm thinking.
A lot of them commented. A lot of the brave soldiers out there commented on that saying, look, I know they're bad, but I do not have the time and energy to transition right now, so I'm going to keep using Streamlabs. And you know what they were met with? The pitchforks came out, and they were told they were scum. I made a video about how to use, it was something in Streamlabs. I made a video about how to use something, the highlighter tool, all right? And another video I made about how to use the Streamlabs cloud bot, okay? Because there was huge search about them. There was huge search traffic, and I'm a content creator, and I'm trying to match search intent. This was before all the Streamlabs stuff went down as well. Literally, I had people tell me that I should off myself. Like openly be like, if you're using Streamlabs, you should go jump off a bridge. Oh my God, Streamlabs guides, LJ, I'm unsubscribing. Go like aggressively.
What?
Twitter DMs from people saying, I just saw that you made a video about how to use the highlighter feature in Streamlabs. You should fucking die. Like, I'm not even joking. And it's like, you do realize that like, this is a cool feature. The highlighter feature is a cool feature. There are people in my audience who watch it. 48% of the voters. I'm gonna go for search traffic, and it's crazy, man.
And that's literally just like, I guess, cancer culture at its finest. Like, oh, are you siding with the villain
This
was
6 months ago. This was before this was before the cancel culture. I'm not brave enough to talk about Streamlabs online on my YouTube channel after the cancel stuff started. This was literally back like 6 months ago, 4 months ago, before all this kicked off.
I am so
people fanboy, man. They fanboy so hard. They're like, I want YouTube to win. Twitch needs to die. And it's like, that is the worst thing to want.
As we've said many times, it's about this monopoly business. But like, let's not forget, like, we're not going to go into this, but there's just like a brief analogy here is like, remember when all the stuff came out about Activision and, you know, Bobby Kotick and things like that, and people are going to boycott Blizzard, they're going to boycott EA. And they said all these things. And then you looked at the stats of like the first weekend, percentages dropped. The week after, because the internet being the internet, people move on to different things. The averages shot back up in terms of people playing Call of Duty and things like that. It really is this mentality of just like, as Nick was saying, it's who's the villain today? I'm going to side with them, show how I know these things. I'm up to date with current events and I take the side of good. And then they say this stuff, but don't really follow through on the act of it. It's more just for show. Now, don't get me wrong. I think, you know, Streamlabs obviously taking IP is a terrible thing, especially marketing stuff like that. Terrible. But in terms of making things easier for people, I don't disagree with that at all. If people can conglomerate all those amazing ideas and put them into one, legally, obviously with people's approval or companies' approvals, fans, why would I ever go against that? And why would I ever look at somebody and go, I look down on you for using slobs? Like, it doesn't make a difference to who you are as a person. A piece of software on your computer, like on what you stream on, you really have to tell somebody to jump off a bridge for that.
Legit.
What is wrong with you up here that you have to make that be known on a public forum? And don't get me wrong, we know there's a lot of anonymity out there on the internet, but just think about that for a second. Think about where you stand.
It's insane.
It's just so, it just blows my mind. Like on it, just quick highlight. Like an actor who plays a villain in a show or a movie, and then they get real like death threats from people. It's like
Joffrey quit because of it.
Yeah. It's like you realize these are characters. Sorry.
That's a whole other can of worms. But just put it out there. It's like, people, please calm down. But look, there's Streamlabs OBS, like, well, Streamlabs desktop, as it's called. It's not perfect, but it does make things easy. Like that is just fact.
Yeah.
That is
if
fact.
I was starting off,
things that personally I
using
do.
Streamlabs. Streamlabs thing, because it's all there, as LJ said. Why would I have to now do like a 2-hour tutorial on how to do things when I just want to learn the basics, and then I can move over later on once I understand the product. But yeah, speaking of those huge leaks and everything with the IPs, we got to go on to the last topic. And Nick, do you want to start us off here? The biggest news, I think, of the year.
Yeah, the biggest news of the year. What everyone is constantly staying awake at night wondering, how much money are all these streamers making on Twitch?
Because we didn't already
every
know.
single night.
Yeah.
So this was about it's about been a month ago now.
Yeah, it was in October sometime.
Yeah. About a month ago now, a hacker got into Twitch's backend, and literally, when I say like their entire backend, like everything, they got access to absolutely their entire backend, baby, everything. And in that backend was a giant master list of income. I believe, now correct me if I'm wrong, it's the last 3 years of
2019.
income?
It was 2019 till up to now, I believe.
Yes.
August 2019 to October 2021.
2 years in a few months,
in a few months, and this is all the income that they have made from subs, bits, and any ad revenue that they had received.
It wasn't confirmed or denied either, by the way, of whether this also counted as internal bounty boards or internal sponsorships as well. Because if you don't know about Twitch, sometimes they'll reach out to streamers and they'll organize a sponsorship where Twitch is kind of the middleman. In that case, you're no longer invoicing the company. You're actually just going to be paid out more in your payout from your next time with Twitch. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell people that. I'm just going to add it for now.
I'm pretty sure. We'll look it up and we'll cut it out.
But essentially, so we don't know if that includes that. No one ever clarified. But yes, you're right, Nick. It is bits and subs.
Yeah, for the most part. So, and so these numbers got out, and I think it was a very long list. Like I can't actually remember off the top of my head.
It was 10,000.
Yeah. 10,000 people, and their entire income was just leaked, and it was crazy to see. Now, as everyone knows, you don't receive the full cut of subs. Obviously, you receive bits, right? But obviously you have to pay more. You have to pay, $1.50 to give your favorite streamer $1 of bits. But the craziest thing was just seeing how much these streamers have been earning over this time period, and the difference between what the raw money income was and what their cut was out of it.
And I think a lot of people were shocked. And I think it was split down the middle in terms of people who are over at YouTube or look up to streamers. There were two distinct people. There was holy shit, they make so much money. And then there was the other party of like, holy shit, they don't make nearly as much money as they thought they would make for full-time work. And I was of the one of holy shit, they don't make a lot of money for what they're worth in terms of, you look at the top 100, you'll be like, that's a ton of money. Maybe even the top 1,000 or so, right? But compared to other content creation, compared to, say, the top users on Instagram, TikTok, especially YouTube, I guarantee that is a pittance for some of those big time YouTubers in terms of cuts for what they get from ad revenue and things like that. But maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Because I don't have the exact numbers on me right now, but essentially they worked out that the people earning millions a year on YouTube is something in the like 80,000 mark. Like there are 88,000 or something crazy like that, people earning millions on YouTube. And I'm sure that's even like a low estimate. Whereas over on Twitch, it's something like $1 million in a year is like 10 channels, a handful of channels, right? Which is insane. And like just on my side of things, while I don't monetize my Twitch channel very well. I honestly, I could do a lot more. Like I could put a load more work in to monetize it. But I look at my audience and I think, as I said earlier, I don't necessarily want their direct money. I would rather monetize in ways that were their time when they watch a video, right? So I can't say much because of the obviously NDAs on partner contracts. But on that topic, if we look month by month, let's look at November. Just in November, I earned very well on Twitch. I had a few things happen, like sponsored stuff. I had a few things where I got a big bunch of subs, all that stuff. I had a really good month in November on Twitch. I'm not going to say it, but on YouTube, I earned 5 times as much. And I uploaded 2 videos.
Silence is deafening because
Like
It's a
that is
reality.
insane, right? 2 videos,
Yeah.
and that's because I uploaded weekly, obviously, for an entire year. Like I'm in a good CPM. So if you don't know, you guys will, but people listening don't know what a CPM is. Essentially, different industries have different prices per minute or prices per mile. Some people call it for their ads, meaning that, and it's usually based off intent. So in my education industry, they can run ads for, say, owned. The ad will play as a pre-roll or a mid-roll, and there's a high intent because the person watching it is wanting to become a content creator, wanting to become a streamer, so they're more likely to click on said ad and buy from the person who's advertising to them because it's targeted to them. Whereas on a gaming video, it's usually very low CPM because the intent is for entertainment. They're not going to click onto that Razer laptop or the Razer headset because they're not necessarily looking for one. It's kind of more just general advertising. So I believe on a talk, Ludwig mentioned early on that his CPM, while he was talking to Devin, he said his CPM was around $8. All right. This was a while ago, rough number. Mine, I was really shocked to hear that because my CPM is $16 at its lowest point throughout the entire year. My CPM right now in November during spending is $23.
That's nutty. Not the streamer.
Not the streamer.
Yeah.
Can I ask LJ if you're comfortable with saying,
I'm very open.
What is the ratio? What is the ratio of people who actually click on an ad to link them to the website that or the product that it's promoting?
So
like, do you know? Is there a ratio you can see?
You can't necessarily see the click-through rate on your direct ads, but it doesn't really matter because it's like one of those things where you're still showing them on your video, right? Like they're still being advertised even if someone doesn't click on it. I can't say my sponsors, but I can say that I have a very good click-through rate on my sponsors. So I have Owned as my main sponsor because I love their work, and I've worked closely with the team, and they are super, super, super supportive of me, right? And I'm not including their sponsorships in any of those numbers I just said, by the way, the 5 times. If I added what they pay me on top for the sponsored videos, then it is way more, right? And when you think about that, it totally makes sense why people like Harris only stream 3 times a week and then focus all their time on that because it makes them more comfortable with their family. It gives them good income, right? And so I can't see what the actual click is on the video, but it doesn't matter to me as long as I'm getting my income, and I am. My ads show and are really good and everything's, it just blows my mind. I don't know. It's too hard to really break it all down, but
it really is that thing, isn't it? Of just where do you put all your eggs in a way? As we're talking about at the beginning of the podcast, to diversify, right? And when you hear those stats, it's like, why the hell are you not uploading to YouTube? Why are you not going on TikTok? Why are you not making, if you can imagine a recycle symbol, it's an arrow pointing to that, point to that, point to that. Why are you not doing that? Because it's so simple to do. And I think a lot of people, it's just, they don't want to put the time in. And I'm not saying that like they're lazy or anything, but let's be honest. If you're starting content creation, you probably have full-time work, a part-time job. You've got a family or a significant other or friends or things, and you've really got to organize your time more. Back when you're a teenager, you had all the time in the world. University, we're going to sleep in, not going to go tutorial. But now that you've reached that thing of like, I want this to be an actual goal for me, you got to put in a lot of time and a lot of work to do that. And those people that put in that time, even if they do, may not even make it then because, there's so much content out there. So you have to make it unique. You've got to have a small inkling of luck, but really know what your strategy is. And when I heard that obviously you've made, X amount more, first of all, I'm so happy for you that's awesome because you don't have to rely solely on streaming to be like, this is I've got to do it. I can't take a day off.
I couldn't do it. Yeah. Dude, I have panic attacks while live. If I go to have I tell people I got to pee and they'll be like, you just peed 30 minutes ago. And I'll be like, yeah, I got a small bladder. Ha ha ha. Go be right back stream. And I'll be like, oh my God, this content is shit. I'll be like, this is so bad. I suck. Why do I have 100 people watching me? Right? Like I'll be like, I'll have panic attacks. Right. And then I can't imagine how much worse it would be. Like, so I've had an anxiety disorder my entire life, fully diagnosed. Same. It's just been how it is. And I could not imagine how much extra stress it would be on content creators and on myself if I was live. And not only did I think, why are 100 people watching me? This is terrible content. But I was also thinking, fuck, I need another 20 subs tonight or I'm not making rent. Like,
yeah, that's rough. Like I can't sympathize to that extent, but that's is so rough. And like, having that comfort and that kind of thing to fall back on, like you've got that established YouTube channel that is your main income. The stress relief is so much better. And I think knowing that you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck, I think helps you become in a better state of mind, and in turn helps you just become more natural and relaxed. And then that can transfer to your content, and you can actually focus on trying to make good content rather than being stressed in the back of your mind going, oh crap, well, I need to come up with an idea, maybe do it to try and get more subs and that kind of thing and this, and then your mind just starts racing, and then you're just completely distracted from what you're actually doing.
Yeah, it really is. It's a double-edged sword in terms of, like, my main income is Twitch, obviously. I'm trying to build up, YouTube and things like that, but you just got to work your way up there and, hopefully hit it. But it is, I do have those days, LJ, and I really felt it back when I was going for partner. Like, I don't know, I had an uptick. It was the start of the pandemic, more people watching Twitch, all that kind of stuff. I remember having to do the exact same thing as you, where it's like, I just need to go to the bathroom, guys. And I felt honestly nauseous that I was going to throw up. I was in the bathroom for about 5 minutes. I was like thinking about numbers, and it's like I was going live every single day. I was doing exactly what I said not to do at the beginning of the podcast in terms of going for that grind just to hit those numbers, which you've been through as well, Nick. It's just, it just takes it out on you. It really is all you can think about. And then obviously I've got hindsight now. It's like, what an idiot. But it is that panic of, this is what I'm trying to achieve. This is my livelihood at the moment, which it still is. I've got to go live. If I don't go live, I don't get money. And it's as sad as it is, and it says, like, we do call ourselves, as we talked about when we started discussing this podcast, we are digital buskers. We have to put ourselves out there, and hopefully people like what we do and throw down some money. I wish I was in that state where it's just like, I've got YouTube or ad revenue or sponsorships. Like when you see Barjo stream, basically every Barjo stream is just, he's got a sponsor. It's like a sponsored stream or something. And I can tell that he's doing really well for himself, which is Barjo. Fantastic.
Isn't he great?
Barjo is amazing.
He's honestly so talented as well. He's like such a smart, in terms of monetization, I think he's really brought in with him what is the entertainment business. If anyone doesn't know what Barjo is an ANZ streamer, used to be a game show or a show about games, I guess is a better one. Also a game show host on another show here in Australia. So he's quite big for our generation as well, because he did a show in after school TV all about gaming. Him and a few other ANZ streamers, they've all moved into streaming now. But he's monetized so well. His alerts he has the most alerts of any channel on all of Twitch. He has the most dynamic alerts. Literally no one is ever going to top him as well, because he adds like 30 new ones every day.
I don't know how he does it.
But he's also got, because he's so, he's from a mainstream entertainment business. He got a bunch of sponsors, such as I believe Corsair and other stuff on retainer. AMD, all these guys and computer stuff, and they're all just signed on for months to pay, as long as he shows them on stream and does all that stuff. But then he also has things like, he's sponsored by Blizzard ANZ, right? Which doesn't sound great when you think about everything's going on. But also ANZ, again, ANZ is a very different market to the rest of the world. We do different things here, and all sorts of other stuff. And he's creates incredibly entertaining content while also monetizing it in a way that doesn't feel pushy. And man, can I just say how thankful I am that audiences these days understand monetization is important for creators?
Yes.
Like it's
100%.
insane. I've never had a single complaint when I'm doing a sponsored stream, and I've only done 3 sponsored streams, all brought to me directly from Twitch, because let's be real, most of the stuff that comes in the bucket for our size group is not worth looking at. But that's another podcast. That's another podcast.
Well, that's another topic for another day. Yeah, but no, you're right. Yeah, sorry, Reapz, go.
No, you go, mate.
Yeah, no, it's completely right, and he was such a pillar for the gaming industry in Australia. Him and Hex, who was his co-host for a very long time, and like she streams and she does heavy sponsorship with Lenovo on her side of things. And like they themselves were established. They were used to, or like they had the best start to streaming or content creation that anyone could ever have. They were on a TV show for years. People knew them, and then the show got eventually, finished and got cancelled, and they're like, well, what do we do now? Well, they're going to move into the next best thing, which was content creation and streaming. And so they already knew how to put on a good show. And so like, and Barjo was already doing that wacky stuff back on Good Game. So it was a natural transition for him. And it's just been fantastic. He's just been absolutely killing it. He's great.
The only trick I think Barjo is missing is he needs to hire an editor and find some way to like slightly twist his content a bit to turn into YouTube content. Yeah, he's all of his eggs are currently in the. I looked at his YouTube channel one of the first times I ever looked at it, and I was shocked. I was like, Barjo, mate, you could like literally. I don't know him, I'm not in a player position where I should be giving advice. He's bigger than me, more experienced, more talented. But from someone whose background is video SEO and who's built my YouTube channel like in under a year, I look at Barjo and I go, with your audience, if you just hired someone to make all your edits and did a little twist to make the content work a bit better for the platform and actually had someone come in to make your thumbnails as well, it's not expensive. It's really not expensive to have someone do it properly. No. Like, I honestly think he would be like top. Like, I think he'd get to loser fruit sizes instantly. Like legit, like he's entertaining enough while live. He just needs the diversification.
Well, sorry, Nico.
I was just quickly say, I think he's been doing a lot of that, but in the form of Instagram Reels and TikToks, because I see that quite frequently, where there's different clips from his streamer getting edited into like Reels and TikToks and stuff. So that's I know he's at least doing that at the very least.
He's pushing TikTok. I think one of the only problems, he has the same problem with me as TikTok, and maybe you guys will have the same problem as well, is that we aren't exactly TikTok's key demographic. I don't think anyone here would agree that we're the right demographic for it. It doesn't make sense to me. Because of that, I don't spend much time on it. And because I don't spend much time on it, I don't understand the platform, which means that a lot of the content I produced for TikTok across 2 months worth of producing content daily, I produced 60 videos and I released 60 videos on TikTok for 2 months, right? Straight. And I'll tell you what, it did nothing almost. Like I reckon if I did another 60 days, I'd start seeing results. But the reality is that I didn't understand the trends, the sounds, the algorithm properly, and most importantly, the key demographic on TikTok. Yeah. You know, and also I'm not niche enough. I'm too variety. Like I'm not big enough to be my own niche on TikTok. So if I upload 6 different TikToks and each one is a different game and a different funny moment, none of the same people see those, and that's a bad signal to TikTok. And so I feel like when it comes to TikTok as variety streamers, it's so hard, especially for my demographic, because I just don't understand the platform. I really don't.
There's so much to it. And like, I've never had 100% confirmation on this, but I apparently, allegedly, that there's some sort of, they can analyze the video, and if any mentioning of other platforms apparently can stop your TikTok video from actually reaching further audiences. So mentioning for example, the first batch of TikToks that I was making from clips from my stream, I had a little outro card, which was like, catch me live on Twitch, and I had the word Twitch and had my like, twitch.tv/Nictacular, right? And we're doing that for a while. We heard that. It's like, let's remove that. We did. The next few videos like tripled view counts.
Son of a now I have to go re-export 60 TikToks without my title card in it. Also, swearing, any words that are swear words, any words that are semi like similar to like sex or any alcohol, anything like that, which is crazy, right? Because TikTok, as far as I'm aware, based off the things that I've seen of normal people's TikTok, not mine. Mine for some reason is all One Piece theories. I don't even watch One Piece. Don't know why. I guess I just must have stayed on one for too long and the algo going for it. I don't know who the f Zeus. Why is Nami's tits bigger? I don't understand. All right. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Okay. And anyway, essentially it blows my mind, right? Because, I've lost it now. But like, essentially, like the website is so aggressively catered towards teenagers and posting weird thirst trap videos. Like, it's so gross. Like you see these dudes with like the hair all. I'm old, man. I'm old now. You see these guys with the hair was all starred, and they're there, and they're like, like sticking their tongue out. And it's like if I did that, my wife would be so repulsed. Like if I went out to my wife and I was like, "Hey, baby," she'd be like, "Get the f away from me."
What is wrong with you? Get out of here.
Like next podcast would be LJ's divorce proceedings.
Yeah.
I'll try it. Hey, honey.
LJ, did you upload those same TikToks to YouTube Shorts?
Yes, and I actually noticed on that one as well, swearing and a few other things as well would catch. So we started being really careful. TikTok underperformed aggressively, but YouTube Shorts were interesting. I also, by the way, just throwing it out there, I also hate YouTube Shorts. I actually think YouTube Shorts are more useless than TikToks, but we won't get into that. That's a can of worms. And also, I feel like we've gotten a little off topic. So back onto the Twitch leaks. Can I rewind up? And I just gotta ask, were you guys in the leak?
Yeah, I was in the leak.
See, I know I looked you up, Reapz.
I think I was 2000 something.
Yeah.
I don't think I was. I don't think I was. I think I checked for myself and I don't think I was in there. I don't think so.
My go live the night of the leaks were, I'm so poor, they didn't include me in the leak. And it got 263 clicks on my go live.
That's awesome. Wow.
That's really smart. It's funny you say that. So the day, I think it was the day or the day after that leak happened. I don't know who the streamer was, but there was a streamer, like it got retweeted on Twitter. It was a screenshot. They got donated $100 by someone. And on the PayPal message was, I saw you on the Twitch leak. You need this more than I do.
That was NMP. Yeah, NMP lol from OTK. His whole audience was making fun of him. Him and Soda Poppin as well. But Soda Poppin was like, guys, I make more than this. It's not accurate, please. You know.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny. Just like people were just like taking pity. I'm like, wow, you need this money more than I do. Clearly, it's like it was hilarious.
But the crazy thing for me is because I didn't think I'd, make the leak, because when I first heard about the leak, I was like, these streamers who, like I'm a 100 viewer Andy type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you imagine the people in the thousands make X amount of money, right? Crazy amounts of money. And I was like, I'm not going to be anywhere near that. And then I was surprised to see that I'm like 2000 and something on the list. I was like, what the f-? And I just felt more drained than anything. I was like, how, because that's bare, if you do the math on it, I'm going to make a video about this, by the way, but if you halve what I had, I think it would have been like minimum wage.
Yeah. I said this in my latest video.
I mean?
I said that I was talking to, I'm not going to say who they were because I feel like it's a little bit of a leak to say, but I was talking to a couple of other Aussies streamers, my size, some of them a lot bigger than me. And we were talking about our very first year on Twitch, and you can go back and look at what you earned because your analytics are all saved. And we all went back to our very first year and we worked out hourly how many hours we streamed in our first year and how much money we earned on Twitch in our first year. And all of us reached, roughly partner within a year and a half, right? We're all quite quickly to grow. And almost every single one of us was between $1 to $4 an hour on Twitch, not to also add in the fact we all spent so much time offline working on things, like 2 to 3 hours a day working on it. And when you take those extra hours into account, we worked out that most of us were on like 50 cents to $1 an hour, working on Twitch to try grow our audiences. And we grew pretty quickly. And something else to point out, most of us streamed way less monthly than what the average new streamer does and what the average new streamer puts the time in. Most of them are like 5 days, 8 hours a day. I was doing 5 days and I was streaming for 3 to 4 hours a night. That sounds like a lot, but it is nothing compared to most people. I think that's less than probably what you guys do. Like Reapz, you do what, 4 days and you do like 5 to 6 hours?
I do 4 days. I do it like about 6 hours. And even then I'm struggling, you know what I mean? And it's not like I don't love it or anything, but there does come a time where it's just like, there's only so much energy. I'm sure you know this as well, Nick, where it's like, you have to go live because, as we're talking about before, this is my sole income. And there are days I'm not happy in saying this, but you do push yourself. You feel sick, you feel mentally drained, but you've got to go live. In my head, I don't have to, but in my head, it's like you've got to make sure that the people who are paying for these subs, who are paying for you, know that you're not just treating them as like, oh, I'll go on when I want to go live. You know what I mean? Yep. Having that schedule and sticking to it's all about punctuality. And I don't think a lot of new streamers know that. New streamers never have what I find, they never have a schedule. They're just like, I'll stream whenever I want, and no one's going to freaking find you like that.
No,
and they're never going to come back.
The big,
exactly. I have a very unique, I'll try to get too deep into this. I've got a very unique sort of Twitch journey. The first 2.5 years, I mainly streamed as a hobby, and it was I was back on ADSL +2 internet. So I had 0.7 upload, and I streamed at 360p for 2.5 years.
Ooh. As long as the audio is good, you know what they say.
That's exactly. And in that time, I managed to get to about 20 to 30 average viewers and about 4,000 followers. And I made sure at the beginning that my audio was good. I had like a C920 Logitech cam, and it was fine. It was okay. It wasn't great, but like I made sure I had like a good decent microphone, and yeah. So like I streamed for 360p and I streamed a lot of like Terraria because if the game has pixels, then they won't know the difference.
Mate, big brain.
Businessman, right?
Brain.
Yeah.
Businessman.
Yeah, that's it. So I treated my majority of the time was as a hobby. I treated it as a hobby, and like I couldn't even have a schedule for a long time because our internet was so bad. My parents couldn't be on the internet at the same time I was streaming. So we'd have to like schedule like, no, sorry, you can't watch Netflix tonight, mum and dad. Like I need to stream. Okay. Like, so scheduling is so important.
It's
and it wasn't
real.
Yeah. It's too real. So it wasn't until that we got better internet and then they could do their thing and I could stream and I could actually stream in 720p that like, I was like, okay, I'm going to start taking this a little bit more seriously now, have a bit more of put more thought into it. And that's when the rhythm started to get going, especially.
Just going back to it, like, so that was the big thing with the leaks. I think a lot of people were shocked at how much or how little a streamer made compared to, say, YouTubers, or they didn't know about it all. Because I saw a lot of backlash as well from people going, you made this amount of money and you're still taking donations or subs from people? Like, where do you get off, buddy? And it's kind of like that thing of, we're talking about this before, I believe, with, Pokemon and Ludwig doing the $5 donations.
This was before the podcast. We talked about this. Yeah.
Yes. But now that Ludwig, I believe, is doing any donation he receives are going to go to the mods.
It is a $10 cap still. So
$10
cap, but it is going directly to all of the moderators based on a work split. So essentially, people who work harder will tend to get a more fairer split and stuff like that, which is good because it's also incentivizing, I think, because we can talk about the whole, honestly, we could go into moderation on a whole bloody podcast. But for someone like his,
we will another one. Yeah.
But so essentially what I think this came up because I said that I don't have donations turned on. I have gifts, I've got subs and I've got bits because that's built into partnership. But I've always wished I had a way to turn them off. And going back onto the Ludwig leaving thing, this is something that I always said about Pokey and Lud is that I was like, yeah, cool. I'm glad that you guys have captured donations, but if you really wanted to avoid people giving you money that they worked hard for, turn it off. Just turn off the donations. But I found out recently because Ludwig mentioned it during his leaving, or Charlie Moist Critical leaked it, I guess, for him on his behalf. Said that Lud said, "I just want it so that people can't gift more than 10 subs or more than 5 subs. Can you just add that as a feature on my channel? Can I just cap it?" And Twitch said no.
Yeah. That was crazy to learn that. Like, yeah, he's just, and Devin touched on that. He said that if Twitch had agreed to that, that might have been the thing to possibly keep him on Twitch. Maybe.
Well, we'll showing you care, I guess, showing that you're willing to add a feature. And Ludwig was very appreciative and understood of the idea of, sometimes you want a feature and they say maybe, and then it goes through the giant corporate concept of, management and everything else. But I thought it was really interesting. Was I surprised they said no to the gift cap? God, no.
Absolutely not. They're like, you want us to say no to giving us more money? Absolutely not. I mean, even though I get you know what? It's interesting. The Twitch leak, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it showed everyone's splits.
No,
it just showed their income.
No, it just showed their income. Yeah,
yeah. But given at his size, he probably has a very nice split of majority of the income coming through.
I would probably say it's 70,
I don't think the splits are that different. Actually, I think that maybe the splits used to be much more different. But I think it could be talked about contract to contract. But I honestly am not sure these splits are that different. Like, we can't talk about our splits technically, but we're allowed to say, I believe that the default partnership split that most people are supposed to get is for tier 3s, it's 70-30, you get 70%. For tier 2s, it's 60-40. And then for tier 1s, it is 50-50. That is what the default partnership split is. Not saying I have it. Don't say no if you guys have it. I'm not going to say. But
I'm not going to say.
But I think, sure, contract to contract. But I don't feel like Twitch necessarily are going to be doing big splits for every single large creator. I think, sure, maybe Ludwig had one, but I honestly don't think I want to assume that he did, because it just, to me, based off the way Twitch has talked to people, if they're not willing to add a gift sub cap, how willing are they to also turn around and say, sure, for every single sub, all tier 1s, 2 tiers and 3s, you can have 70% of it. It just doesn't make sense in my head if they're that worried about a gift sub cap to also be that open about giving other people a higher split. They might, but I think too many people are assuming that they would be.
Yeah. Well, all I say is that things that I had heard in the space was that if you maintain a large number of subs over a 3-month period, was when that a negotiation could be started.
Yeah.
Nothing confirmed, just a negotiation could be started.
Confirmed, nor denied.
So that was
Yes.
that's information that they've been talking about for like that's been around for like 2-3 years. Like you can find websites from 3 years ago telling people to do that, but I haven't found anything in the last year that has been openly accurate. In fact, I know partnered streamers who are bringing in very high sub counts on a very consistent time, and they have asked, partnership teams, but they're actually moving, from what I've heard from people, they're actually moving away from giving like really specific contracts out to like those people who bring in decent sub counts monthly, because it's imagine having to handle that many people and that many contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just insane, right? And they've been asking like, hey, I heard that I can get a better split if I have this, and a lot of them are like, no,
yeah,
and they're like,
I guess like you said, maybe it was different many years ago, and now that they've got so many more partners that they've just kind of like blanket statement like, this is it.
Totally
if you're on the top 10,
totally open to being wrong on this, by the way. This is just from what I've heard on the partner grapevines. Like I'm sure we all know people. These things spread around. I
would say that at least the top 10 to 20 streamers on the platform at least will probably have a little bit more than a 50-50 split at the very least.
I would say without a doubt.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to say on the Twitch leaks thing is, I know myself, if I'm putting myself in their shoes of let's just say you make XQC money, right? And you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about subs. You don't have to worry about anything else. Even now, I feel guilty when I get gifted subs or like, donations, any bits or anything like that, because you're literally relying on the kindness of strangers. I would love to live in a world where it's just, I get a contract or I get a sponsorship that will sort me out, because that's from a company that doesn't even notice the money's gone.
Yep.
That's not to an individual person. That's a company.
Yep.
Everyone, you can always ask for a raise from a company. It doesn't matter because they're making X amount of money. But I would love that to be like in the future going forward, that would be how I got paid. Not through people, but through a corporation. And that should probably lead us into the goals and things that we want to set ourselves for this year, maybe even next year as well.
Can I add one thing?
Yes, of course.
This is going to be a catchphrase. Can I add one thing?
Sorry. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so last night, normally when someone gives a lot of subs, I will say thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll do the whole thing, but I'll always be like, please don't feel like you have to do that. I don't live off subs.
Yep.
Only do it if you totally feel like doing it. And some of my mods have said you don't need to say it every time. People get it, and I agree that I don't need to say it every time, but I still will for even like 3 or 4 subs. I will still, But last night, someone gifted 10 subs. They came in, they were a partner, Twitch partner, and they came in, they said, I've watched your content for the last year. You really helped me out. Thank you so much. And they dropped 10 subs. Okay. And I was super appreciative. I said, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. And I forgot to add please don't feel like you had to do that, because I just thought I moved on to say, I think I said, you're a partner. You clearly didn't need me. You would have succeeded anyway, right?
Yep.
And then bam, another 5 came in from someone else. And I was like, all right, that's real weird. I said, thank you. But I didn't say but you don't have to do that. And then just more and more kept trickling in. And I kept thinking to myself for the rest of the night, like, if I just said, you don't have to do that, like these people would still have that $25, but now I've got that $25 or whatever my split is of that. And I kept thinking about it, because it is such a strange thing to think about, that these people are giving me their money that they could do, when while it's going to go to rent, it's going to go to everything in my life, all that stuff, could have gone to theirs,
Yep.
or a game they could play. And it's just so strange.
The one thing I'll say that hopefully my easy conscious a little bit, I feel like in that situation, obviously not having been there, but hearing about it, even if you did say that, I feel like some of those people would have still given that, because that's just something they wanted to do.
I don't think it would have been as much, because I was in the middle of Fall Guys. I was really excited at the time. The 10 subs hit, and so my reply back being thank you was like really, like I was really excited, because I was like diving around doing the Fall Guys. You guys know Fall Guys, right?
Oh, I get salty. Yeah, go on.
And so it was really a positive reply. And I always worry, because I feel like when you give someone a super positive response in subs or bits, it's almost Pavlovian, right? Like streamer said my name, yeah, let's go, right? And it's just such a weird thing. But I just wanted to add that like you can monetize so much further, but should you? That's a question that every content creator has to cover, and what their audience is willing and able to do.
Yeah, there's always a good way.
Right.
A good way and a bad way to go about it.
Let's be honest, people who need to either, by the way. This is me saying, I honestly, because streamers need to do it. They needed to do it to be able to, you want the content? sometimes they need to get paid for it. So absolutely zero hate. I'm just saying that we all think about this, even though we need to. And I struggle with it quite a lot. And I'm very lucky. It's one of the drives of why I do YouTube, you know?
Yeah, like I think, compared to 5 years ago or so, like nowadays, like people are so much more understanding, like for people who are just pushing monetization because they understand, like they need to do it.
Yeah.
I will say though, LJ, let's be honest, it was that mustache you were wearing last night.
It was good.
It was that mustache.
I was getting some horn dogs in chat. They were coming in, man, and they were like, oh,
yeah.
LJ.
Yeah. It was a nice little mustache. Look, it was all that. They were just like, this man, he looks so sexy. 5 subs. Take my money.
Yeah,
that's it.
Should have seen me taking the mustache off afterwards. You know, it really hurt having to pull off a mustache from a mustache. Maybe that's my goal for next year's content creation. Oh, segue. I need to grow a real mustache, one that doesn't have a gap in the middle.
Yeah, real fancy. Like you need to get on the like Pestily creator level and like really curl it up.
And Craig's mustache used to be amazing. What happened?
I think that was his whole gimmick, and he's just like, I don't want to do this gimmick anymore. Right. I just want to look like a normal person from time to time and stop being asked about my mustache. I can understand it. Totally, I can see where he's coming from.
So speaking of not wanting to be asked, Nick, how did you go with any content creation achievements you aimed for this year? And give me your big one that you're aiming for in 2022.
Okay, so to start with, so I'm hoping to hit partner in the next month. Okay. So, because it was funny because you referred to me, you're like, we're all partners here.
I just talk about size, you know. I'm not talking about the badge. I don't care about the badge. I mean partner size.
Partner size,
big meaty partner size. All right,
big meaty partner size. Yeah, so I'm very thankful that so I managed to get Grassroots last month, and that has just really boosted my channel. So really, it's just kind of partnership is literally just a ticking the box. Okay, now I can keep going. But realistically, I've really been working on YouTube a lot this year. And I've had one of my mods who has been helping me editing a lot, and I've been allocating a little bit of my my Twitch paycheck to actually paying her to edit for me as well. So basically, going on forward, my next goal is to try and get one of my YouTube channels to 1,000 subs to get YouTube monetization and kind of keep that ball rolling. And that one's basically a lot of like mainly gaming. And then my big one is my tech channel. I want to really work on my tech channel next year, doing sort of tech reviews and a lot of technical tutorials for OBS, because I have so much knowledge and a lot of passion for tech and getting really technical with how to do things. So that my big thing is really that second YouTube channel that I want to progress forward and try and grow that one.
Good CPM in tech. Good CPM in tech.
Yes.
If we're talking money.
Yeah.
CPM. We'll walk down the street seeing that.
Yeah. But Nick, what about you guys?
You can go, Reapz.
Yeah, LJ, you want?
No, you go.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so it's basically similar with you, Nick, in terms of I've been doing, come February or March, I believe it is when I started doing Twitch for the first time all those years ago, when I had an actual internet that was worthy of uploading onto Twitch.
All the Australian problems, right? No one can relate.
Americans don't understand. It's like, why didn't you start to stream earlier when it was like in its infancy? Because we couldn't.
We had copper wire, and like one of the copper wires is wrapped around one tail of a possum, and then the possum's holding the other end, and the electrical runs through it. It's bad, guys.
Imagine a tin can with a string attached to it. That was our internet at the time, and it still kind of is. It still is,
and we still have issues. NBN, that's a whole other discussion.
We'll do a podcast, I'm sure, about that. But for me, it's the thing is I'm coming up on 5 years now, and when you hear about people with their 5-year plans and stuff, and it's like I reached the goal that I wanted, and that was to get the partner badge, and that's great. And again, in hindsight, got the partner badge, and nothing as like things changed, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't this huge kind of epiphany thing. There's always something more you want to do. I just want to be, this may be a bit more kind of schmaltzy in terms of it's not a hard goal, but I always like being in creative spaces. That's where I thrive, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, podcasting, live theater, things like that. I just want to be happy and content, and be happy to go to work, Yep. This past 2 years have been tough. I think for a lot of people, because we haven't been able to socialize. You know what I mean? Like we've never met in person, all three of us, which is crazy to think of. It will happen, and we'll do a live podcast.
Man, they canceled PAX Oz.
That's what I mean. That's where we would have met for the first time, but obviously with these variants. So for me, my goal next year is to just be part of more creative endeavors that don't solely rely on me having to stream on Twitch. Now, I know this is a really sad thing to say in terms of I love streaming on Twitch. Don't get me wrong. I've done it for 5 years. Of course, I fucking love doing it. But it's also like I do want to do kind of the Ludwig thing of like there's other things out there that's not just me playing a video game. It can be a game show, which is why I tried to do with PogChumps and things, just something that's not the usual. And with this podcast, with theater, with YouTube, I just want to expand my brand on those platforms and create new things that will get me re-energized creatively and actually meet people in real life and do things in real life with people. That's my big plan for next year, is to really diversify. I
love it.
More so. Yeah, that's
awesome. And I think you should really keep PogChumps going because it was so much fun. It was great.
Amazing. Yeah, it was so much fun.
I loved it. I think the scorekeeper might have been biased against me, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Evie afterwards. She'll hear this podcast and be like, what the f-? Yeah,
Evie. I donated $21 at the start of that stream just to have one more dollar higher than Grace. All right. And
it's ridiculous. LJ, I'll throw it over to you, mate. What's your goals for the upcoming year?
On December 31st of 2020, I sent a tweet out. My tweet was, we're doing goals for 2021. Okay, I gotcha. And my goals, I had 9 of them. Okay. Meet streamers and network. Let's say I've successfully done that because I met one of my favorite streamers, one of my favorite people to collaborate with this year. Reapz, I will say it is you. Congratulations. Yep.
Oh,
look at that.
We're shutting down the.
He's done it.
He's done it.
We got the baubles right here.
We've done it. Second goal, put my foot behind my head, which there'll be a video coming soon.
Hello.
Third goal was to go full-time content creation because you didn't know this about me, guys. My entire first year of 2020, from March 2020 till March 2021, I actually had 2 other full-time jobs. I worked full-time as a video SEO for another company. I'm not going to say who they are. And then I worked full-time as a VSEO and contractor for myself, meaning that I went to different companies every week and edited or filmed or did stuff. Then I also, in that first year, I streamed 5 nights a week the entire first year for those 4 hours every single night. And I also, in August, started Stream Scheme's YouTube channel and uploaded weekly as well. So my entire first year of streaming from 2020, 2021, I did not have a social life. So, but number 3 was go full-time content creation for 2021. But in March 2021, I did successfully do that. And it was entirely because of the YouTube channel. So that's pretty cool.
Well done, man.
My 4th goal was I wanted to start my personal YouTube. Now, this was a bit of a later one in the list of terms of things that got done this year. But I will say I've officially reached 1,000 subs on the personal.
Let's go, baby.
Very nice. Very nice.
Only 2 videos are uploaded, but I'm doing good with that. That's fine.
Hey, that's good, man. That's good.
My 7th goal was I wanted to reach in 2021 50,000 subs on Stream Scheme, and we are at 117K. So
that's
crazy.
That's crazy, dude.
I reached 100K in under 365 days on that channel, and that is insane. That is insane, man. It blew my mind.
Well deserved.
My next,
deserved. That is quality. That's not just like I'm just going to throw something up. That is you put the work in and you can see it.
Blew me away. People's response to that channel. Next goal was 20K followers on Twitch. I know followers are a bad metric, but I wanted to have a metric for Twitch.
For sure.
Yep.
23K. We've done that. Number 8. I wanted a high five again. You know, I just feel like COVID's really ruined high fives for me.
Okay.
And
I thought you meant, to anyone who doesn't know, there is an Australian children's group called High Five, and I thought you wanted a reunion tour. And like, I just want them back. I mean, they were the golden children,
just like the Wiggles. He wants the high five. He wants high five to come back. I just want that creepy puppet. We've got 3 out of 5 right here. We just get 2 more people. We can recreate high five. It's okay. We got this.
Who's the puppet? Oh man. But no, I know it was a cheesy one because I talk about collaborating real events and and stuff. But I've done quite well on my goals of 2021, I would say.
Smashed it, man.
So well, in fact, that I will be honest, for the last 3 months, I've been kind of floating. I haven't really known a goal of what I wanted to do, but I have sat down and I've come up with a content plan and I've put the hard work in. 2022, this is the year of diversification for LJ. All right. My personal YouTube channel is going to be weekly to fortnightly uploads. It's going to be going, I'm going to be going way harder on that channel now. My TikTok, don't understand it, so I'm going to try hire someone else and tell them to do it. All right?
Nice.
I'm just going to be like, hey, you take it, make me famous on TikTok. I'll do the dances.
Yeah, just go for it.
I'm open to doing the tongue thing. All right? You want me to stick the tongue out? I can do it.
Niches on TikTok? Like there's a guy who just does Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. He did a TikTok about his different dual discs and that just
so
crazy.
One thing that I was thinking about for my TikTok is I might do tier list ones. So you can do ones where you start a tier list and then every single time you pick something and put it on the list, you do a little like joke or rant about it. And that's just the entire TikTok. That's just it. And you can get like, you do one tier list of like 30 different things you're ranking, right? And that's 30 TikToks, just ranking it. And you just release one a day for 30 days or two a day or whatever. Reapz down. Go for it.
Yeah, right.
But like I saw a content creator who only does tier lists on their TikTok, and they stream the tier lists, right? And then they just turn each one into like 30 TikToks as they go through it. And they've gone from 0 to around 120 average viewers.
Wow.
Yeah. Whoa, that's a high conversion. Wow.
Yeah, that's huge.
Obviously it starts high and then always dips down. But essentially that's my goals. That's me. I want to diversify, make new content and push things, but that's just me.
Yeah. I think we're all on the same page in terms of we just want to be in creative spaces doing things that we like doing. And this has been really nice because we kind of had this idea about a month ago is when I kind of pitched it, I think. And to have you two on board, it feels so good because I do see this as hopefully, knock on wood and everything in between, that this is going to be like a long running thing. Hopefully we see each other at the end of 2022. I'm still doing this weekly, bi-weekly, whatever it is.
I hope so. I'm really excited about this.
It's been a lot of fun. And in terms of, I guess we should obviously plug the socials and all that stuff. Is there anything that we should end on that you want to bring up before we wrap this all up, as we're at about 2 hours now?
I'm sorry for my centrist opinions about capitalist exclusives. I promise you, I only want the best in this industry. I just sometimes have different opinions about how to get there. For example, sometimes you need a beginner-friendly software. Sometimes you just want to be able to buy a console exclusive. Okay, guys, just leave me alone.
I'm with it.
And sometimes you just got to take your shirt off for the views, like,
and then do the tongue thing.
Do the tongue thing. That's it.
Yeah. Nick, how about yourself, mate?
I think we've really touched a lot of things. I'm hoping that I really hope this podcast is something people want to listen to, and that they actually get a lot of valuable information or just valuable insights. That there's a takeaway that anyone who listens or watches this can take away from it. And because I think there was a little discussion all three of us had before we got this podcast going was, we don't get to do this as creators. Like we don't get to just sit down and just talk about this stuff. No. So the fact that we get to do this and then also bring it out there for everybody else, it's almost therapeutic in a way. So it's going to be really great to just be able to have that time every week to just sit down, talk about stuff, and kind of just and let everything flow and see where things take us. So
that's
really
right.
excited. Hopefully, you guys, please let us know if you want more. Please show us, tell us.
Yes, really let it be known. And again, we did talk about a lot this week, and it has gone on for a lot longer than we intended, but that's because this is our first one. There's a lot to talk about. It's going to become more refined, obviously. And, we'll hate each other around April. Then, we'll do that kind of drama on Twitch and then get more views about how we're doing it together. We've got a whole plan out for it all. But for the first week, this has been the suggested podcast, and we have been the damn Digital Buskers, and we're dropping frames at the moment. So we'll see you next week. If you've got any topics, please let us know, and we hope to hear that you can listen to us and give us some feedback. So peace out, everyone.
Catch you later.
Thank you.
Bye.